Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like y'all are here for the pTGC and UFO Gray's Currencies stream. Yay. Let me get it set up on my phone. This is how we do it. We've been doing this for over a year. We stream on YouTube and have spaces on X. I call it the space stream. So I just got to get it pulled up. It can be a little troublesome sometimes. We'll get to your question. It's Oxendeki. I like that question. Sometimes I have to go back into Twitter and find it. So give me a second, guys. Hope you guys are doing good. Waiting for the network. Well, there's the problem. I didn't have connectivity. So here we go. We'll have it now. All right, hold on. Everybody. Spaces. Now. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you. Good morning.
What's up, Banana? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Super.
Just drinking my coffee.
Yeah, I had my coffee. This morning. I shook up my routine a little bit today. I eliminated some work, did it yesterday, and then did a stream this morning with Crypto Stylist, my buddy Stylist.
You did a stream this morning?
Yes.
Well, I didn't even know. Was it live?
Yeah, we did it live. It was the PulseChain Help Desk stream.
Oh, wow.
That we're doing it. Yeah, well, you can watch it later if you want to. But it's for onboarding people. It's an experiment. We are getting ready. We're sharpening our skills to perhaps see an influx of people from the mailer campaign. And if we can intercept them on YouTube, we want to. So we're getting ready for that. And Stylist she says she can do it every Saturday. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to repeat it on Thursday, and then she and I will do it on Saturday.
Yeah, what time on Saturday are you guys doing it?
It would be 5 a.m. Pacific.
2 hours ago?
Yes. Yep.
Cool.
And what's great?
Yeah, you got a busy Saturday morning.
Yes. Well, we're sprinting to the finish line, Zan. So, and I didn't even realize till we were talking before we went live. Okay, we're introducing people to PulseChain and explaining who Richard Hart is because he's the one that gifted them this device, right? And honestly, I don't know that anybody has actually received one in the mail yet, but I think they will.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone post it yet besides like a couple people that I know were there. Like the guy who delivered the van, I saw him do a post with one.
Yep.
Which makes sense, right? He delivered the van to the warehouse. They obviously handed him over one. But I haven't seen anyone post that they got one in the mail besides that one post that was from April. You saw that, right?
Yes.
Where a couple people received like a test batch, which was pretty cool, where the border said different, which I thought was pretty interesting as well.
Yes. So, and we're introducing these people to PulseChain and Richard Hart, giving them a little bit of background. And guess what? You probably already figured it out. I mean, Crypto Stylist has spent a number of days with him IRL in real life. So here's this person that loves Richard Hart and has actually spent time with him, getting that. She understands his chemistry. You know what I mean? And so she can say from her own experience what she thinks about Richard Hart, and it's all positive. She loves the guy. So I'm like, oh yeah, man. It doesn't really get much better.
Not too many people who have been able to hang out with Richard that I know of behind the scenes, behind the camera. right?
Yes. Yep. So that was a hit. I just hope it works, dude. That's the idea. If it's not working, I'm not going to keep doing it. You know, that's the definition of insanity. But if it does, man, I'm excited. Let's get those people onto PulseChain. You know, hold their hand, get them into a wallet situation if they need help with that. You know, getting their PulseChain, and then of course, you know, what token should they hold? pTGC and UFO. Start there, and then go have fun in the casino.
Yeah. What was the turnout like this morning?
Dismal, like 6.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you happen to throw it in the Gray's TG?
No, that's not my target.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think it's good to, you know, maybe to do it at least at the beginning, because
yeah, you're right.
Because activity in the chat, I think, is welcoming, especially if it's activity by people who are positive and helpful.
That's true.
I don't think it's a horrible thing. Just so when people do start to get these gifts, they hop in, they see a lively group ready to help. I think that does help with onboarding. People want to know that there's a community that they're kind of going into.
Oh,
Having
yeah,
a
right.
community already established is very welcoming. And we do have a community, and I think it's fair. Like, yeah, they're listening to the same thing that they've known for 4 years, but some people just want to go in there and help and support. You know what I mean?
It's going to help the algorithm. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So I will do that. I will hesitantly do that on Thursday. We're cutting our teeth in. It ain't fun. It's not easy either. It's humbling. But you're right, man. If we can get it in, get more people involved, more people liking it in the chat and just watching it, then that will help get it in front of the eyeballs of the target, which are the people that are receiving these direct mail pieces and are curious about, who is this man that sent this to me? What is this crypto thing? What's PulseChain? They're the target. So
yeah, what were some of the things you guys touched on, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Hi, I'm speaking today, and then I can chime in here. So we talked about, well, the first thing I talked about was, you know, how I can vouch for Richard, as Banana brought up earlier, because I spent time with him. So I'm like, he's not a psycho. He's a really good guy. He's really smart, and you know what he stands for in crypto is, you know, really the reason why crypto was invented was, you know, for it to be decentralized, and you know, he actually has integrity, whereas a lot of people in the space do not. So, you know, we started with that, and then really just talking about, like, we thought about, you know, the people that we're talking to, and we're really targeting normies, right? So, you know, not only, you know, talking about like inflation and what is happening and how the monetary system is broken, but that also on the kind of opportunity side, you know, cryptocurrency is the greatest appreciating asset in the history of mankind, and you have a chance to get in now when it's still really early. So it's still playing that card as well, because, you know, even in my world, there are so many people who are not into crypto. They won't touch it. So it's just trying to get them to understand what this opportunity is and try to get them to put a little bit of money in. And then we just talked about, you know, what is not so much in the technicals of what is Hex, Pulse, and PulseChain, because we didn't have time, and I wasn't prepared, and I didn't want to misspeak, but just, you know, talking about what the philosophy, like why PulseChain was invented, you know, and but without going too technical, because then we didn't want to, you know, turn people off. We kept it really top line on the surface.
Yep. Kept it very simple. And that's how it needs to be delivered. Very simply for like Stylus said, for no coiners. And Riddick says on YouTube, he says, I think those devices are meant for no coiners. So it will take some time till those no coiners come to our chain. Sure. But, you know, in our experience, like I think Stylus and my experience both was, you know, as soon as we found out about Richard Hart, well, in my case, at least, I jumped right into Hex as soon as I discovered it. So there will be there will be people that jump right into PulseChain.
Yeah, and it's so smart that they're targeting no corners, because I watched the stream with the happy hour with Cabana Crypto and Hexologist and Big K, and RG3 was actually in it for a little bit, and they were talking about the fact that, you know, targeting no corners is so important, because if you target and send these mailers to people who are already into crypto, they've probably already picked their team. So you'll have the Bitcoiners, Ethereum, you know, XRP, like they already have their team, and it's harder to convert them to a new team. Whereas no coiners, it's easy to recruit them to your team. And so that's kind of like one of the big points that they were making.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I have never really thought about. And it's so true, right? Like, everyone that's in crypto has kind of already found their home and their place. And yeah, there is the chance of them, you know, switching their home base or creating two home bases. But onboarding someone brand new, I think we would have a lot better of a success rate of someone finding their home here on PulseChain. I also think brand new people coming into crypto have a different mindset of crypto. Like, when a lot of people that I know that get onboarded into crypto at first, they're looking at it as like an investment tool, a tool that they can store value in and have that appreciate over time. And like you said, the fastest appreciating asset. But a lot of people that have been in crypto for multiple cycles don't have as long-term mindset as I've found. They've gotten to the point where they're actually just trying to make quick flips. And I think that's just naturally what the market has like shoved them into. And I think Richard is trying to obviously like reprogram everyone's mindset of, hey, you just got to find the right asset and stay in that right asset for a long period of time. It's not about how many 2Xs you do. You could do 50 2Xs, and that would never compete with finding, you know, the next Ethereum or the next Bitcoin, right? And I feel like new users coming in, it's easier to educate on that philosophy than people that have been here in crypto trying to play the casino for so long now.
It's true, because I wasn't into crypto at all, and I got onboarded immediately into Richard Hart's system. So because I was just more open to it. Yeah. So, and then the other point that they were making, they're like throwing around the number. They're like, okay, well, the first round of mailers is 400,000 mailers being sent, of these devices being sent. So they're saying, like, what if they're guessing around 5 million will be sent? That was the number that they were throwing around in the stream. And I can't confirm or deny like whether or not that's the actual number, but I think it's somewhere in that ballpark of what they're thinking will be sent. And if only 1% of 5 million, and what is that, 50,000 people, you know, invest $1,000 into the system, then that would be $50 million in the system. And I happen to think it'll be more. The percentage will be higher. The percentage they were using was 3.5. But if we're really, really conservative, that's a lot of money that goes into PulseChain if that happens.
Yeah, and that's only from the mailers, right? Like, that
Exactly.
doesn't include the person, the mailer who onboards 2 more people or throws $1,000 in it and actually falls in love with cryptocurrency and maybe DCA's a little bit more. You know, maybe they start with only $1,000, but after they kind of do some more digging, then maybe they feel more comfortable going with, you know, $10,000 or something like that. I would say it's very normal in this industry is people kind of dip their toes in the water and maybe start with a smaller amount, but as they educate themselves more and as they realize what the opportunity is, they tend to go a little bit heavier.
It's true. Very true.
So what is your forecasted price impact? $50 million? Was that the amount?
If it's 5 million mailers and 1% of the people who receive the mailers spend put in $1,000, that would be 50 million. Right.
Okay. That'd be a 47x on PulseChain with not counting any sell pressure. 47x. Wow. Yeah, we'd be at SAC price, of course. So 1.2 basically well above strike price, 0.0018. So yeah, those would be happy days.
That would be amazing. And then Zen, we also, of course, talked about pTGC, and we just said, we outlined, gave a rundown on the RH tickers and what they are, just super brief, just saying, like, identifying what they are. Or like, if you're doing research and you can't decide which one that you want to go into because it's hard because there's 4 of them, then we recommended pTGC because it was, just it's like a leverage on all the RH tickers. You're investing in the whole system, on the whole RH system, if you invest in pTGC, and that, that it has been incredibly successful on PulseChain, and, actually has outperformed PulseChain. So we did mention that. It wasn't obviously the focus of the stream, but we did talk about it.
Yep, we sure did. And then, of course, we drove people to the Telegram that I created for onboarding these people, because that's where we want them to engage with us, with our community, the Grays community. And so we just dropped a link in the chat for them to come join the Telegram, and the link is also in the description of the video. It's a private group, but anybody with the link can join it.
So Banana, if someone comes in there, they're new, they get the device, they're just trying to research PulseChain, or even they've done some research and they can't figure out how to get in, are you doing walkthroughs on that stream on how to get in, and what process are you going about?
I did when I streamed on Thursday, and we Stylist and I are going to collaborate about how to properly onboard. She sent me some videos. I think Coffee did a walkthrough, and then a couple other gentlemen. I'm going to watch those videos, and any key takeaways I'll just incorporate into our presentation. But it just needs to be as simple as possible, because crypto, can be overwhelming, and we don't want people to feel overwhelmed and just give up. So yeah, we got some work to do in that area.
Yeah, what I've seen recently, it looks like a few community members are building like landing pages of all the tools you need to be onboarded. Like, I saw an account yesterday, I think, Bankless, and they were creating a really good looking onboarding page that had the links to the wallets, that had the links to the bridges, that had the links to the swaps. It was super clean. It looked good. So I think kind of hunting down the best resource there.
Yes.
And really kind of just sticking to that one. When I've onboarded in the past, I've been using Go Real DeFi, which has been a great tool for me. I just give that link to, the people I've onboarded. You've got the bridge in there, you've got PulseX in there, and it's an easy one for them to remember, gorealdefi.com. But then they got all the links, in that one address. And I think some new ones are coming up too that are even better with more stuff, like the MetaMask links and stuff. So I think those are being built. Keep your eye out for them. The one I was looking at yesterday looked really good.
And
so I was like,
where can I find that one?
The account I saw posting it was called Bankless.
Okay.
I guess it's a community member. Crypto Coffee reposted it. That's how it ended up on my feed. And I couldn't find a link to it, so I don't know if it's in development and going to be out soon. But it looked really good in the little video that he posted of the tease of him interacting with it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The idea from my perspective is what I'm going to do is just have a live place where people can perhaps land on this thumbnail on YouTube, and they got the mailer, they make the connection, they jump in, and they get a presentation live of how to get onboarded. And then they can ask any questions in the chat, any questions they have afterwards. They can jump into our Telegram, the Telegram that I set up, and they can ask questions there. But I want, all the resources that we can give them I want to have access to them. So I'll look up that bankless one.
Yeah. So you could do that live, right? You would just pull that up on your YouTube as you're doing it, and then you show them like, hey, it's got the wallet here, it's got the bridge here, it's got the on-ramp here, it's got the swap here, everything you need all in one place. So you're not having to pull up, 6 different tabs just to get to one spot. That's where I think it starts to get difficult, and people start to Google, which I don't like that.
Yeah.
When they Google Liberty Swap or when they Google PulseChain Bridge, a lot of times, especially in the bull market, the scammers will pay to have the fake websites over the real websites.
Yes.
And new onboards don't know that stuff, right? They have no idea. So, that's why I love those hub sites.
Yes.
You get them to type in that exact URL, especially if it's an easy one like GoRealDeFi.com. They just type it in exactly, and they got all the stuff there. They're not Googling and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's a lesson too for finding dApps and such. You want to bounce off of Deck Screener or bounce off a reputable site to find a dApp, for example. But then once you get there, once you get to bankless.com or whatever the site is, then it's like, okay, it's like people just landing on PulseChain.com. If I were brand new to crypto, I'd be like, what? I need somebody to just give me some basic tips, walk me through this. And then then I'll be on my own.
Yeah, you want to have someone there with you clicking the buttons before you, showing you what each one does. You don't want new people just hopping in there trying to figure out what every word means. Crypto's literally like a different language. We use so much wordage that doesn't make sense to a normal person. So having like a banana there to kind of explain each word to you, walk you through which buttons you can bypass, which ones you need to go to, and help them get in, I think that's going to be really, really helpful.
Yes. And Stylus mentioned, what's that wallet? What's the wallet that you mentioned, Stylus?
Money.
Yeah, Internet Money wallet. As I need to look into that. I'm excited about that because I've heard that somebody PM'd me after my Thursday stream, and they're like, you need to have a look at Internet Money wallet as an option for getting people over to PulseChain easily. So I will look at that.
Yeah, I forget what I saw KG talking about. I think he has an on-ramp built into it and then also the bridge built into it. I could be wrong, but that's obviously a really good solution for new people. Like if I was a new person, I would like it all in one. Sadly, I've been here for a long time, so I use what I'm used to using. But we don't need the new onboards to do what we do. There's better solutions out there nowadays.
There's a bridge between Ethereum and PulseChain, so you can send your Ethereum to PulseChain, to the PulseChain, and then the on-ramp. I know that he's working on that. I don't know if that's done yet, but I know that's part of the plan. You can also trade within the wallet, and it'll just aggregate for you within the wallet. They take a small fee, but the fee goes to the people who hold the time token. I don't hold the token, so I'm not shilling it. That's what it does, but it is a really safe and nice place to trade in the wallet as opposed to going outside and finding another dApp and getting scammed from one, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Yeah, nice.
Yep, we'll have a look at that. That could be a one-stop shop, which would be sweet.
Yeah, I saw that Internet Money was one of the recommended wallets on that site I was just telling you about. That looked good. I remember that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yay. That might be an excellent solution. Well, what else is happening, guys?
Yeah, nothing too in particular.
Nothing green.
Yeah.
It is all red. Even my mic is red.
I think it'll be interesting that now that the mailers are going out,
And what, because I've heard a few streams of people talking about the mailers going out, and what unequivocally what everyone has agreed and said is that, after all this work and expense and pain, and this is a massive undertaking, the most important thing is that when people go on to PulseChain, that it's green and not so red. So it'll be interesting to see if anything happens in the next few weeks as these mailers go out.
Yeah, I will 100% agree. That's one thing I'm kind of standing on is I do think for this marketing campaign to have the best impact when these people get these mailers or these gifts and they look up PulseChain, we need the product to look like a great product. We need to show the new users that we're onboarding that the users that have previously been exposed to this product are winning. If we show them that the previous people that have been exposed to this product for the last 4 years are not financially doing well, are not happy with their long-term investment, which if you go on Twitter, that's what it looks like. We're not sugarcoating it. That's literally what it looks like. The marketing won't have that good of impact, but if they go on and they see the people who took the risk 4 years ago winning, happy with what they invested in, they see the community happy and joyful with what they're holding, and then the product is working great. That's one thing that's really nice about PulseChain is we've had 100% uptime with PulseChain, right? It hasn't turned off. The DEX works good. As far as all of our products go, they're all robust and they work good. And this is really important, right? Like the machine that we're using is working great. It's just the price isn't doing that good currently, which then creates negative morale. But if we can just start changing that stuff even slowly and show the new onboards that the people that have been here made a good decision and they're happy about that, it's going to attract more, right? It's contagious.
Yeah, on the Internet Money website, they've got an alien on their site. So they are pTGC approved. It's official. I'm joking, but I love it.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. KG sent me over the link a while ago to get our logos updated over there, and I never did it. I need to put that on my to-do list.
Did I see that Liberty Swap is going to list pTGC and UFO by the end of September? Or
Yes.
it might. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you saw that. I think Mando has been in contact with them, kind of communicating with them a little bit. And yeah, it's obviously the contracts are a little special, so they're working on them. And yeah, they said by the end of September. So maybe, I don't know, it could be the end of September.
I hope so. That would be amazing in time for all this,
Yeah.
the market. Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be a confluence of a lot of exciting things happening, all at once with Liberty Swap, postcards, potential for rate cuts, just the natural movements of the crypto cycles, us approaching alt season, and a lot of factors going into myself thinking very bullish thoughts for the short term.
It's like everything's playing out, pretty textbook, right? Like, as opposed to like the last is very rhyming with the last cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And yet when the price goes down, like over the last few days, it's just hilarious to watch, Twitter and YouTube and all these influencers saying that the alt season is over. I'm like, dude, it hasn't even started. Like, what are you talking about? It's so crazy how people are panicking and how negative they get so quickly with like 2 days of negative price action.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard to be critical of people, at the same time, just because, we've all been through a lot in the last several years, and we kind of get it. I mean, we're tired, we're worn out, and it was just like, is this another shakeout after 45 other shakeouts? You know, it can be very discouraging. There will be people that fall to the wayside.
No, absolutely. It's hard. It's hard. If it were easy, then everyone could do it and everyone would be rich.
Exactly.
Of course, it's hard. It's excruciating.
Yeah, I think one thing that to always remember is Richard was very, very successful with his marketing with his products last cycle. And I personally think the big increase in community, the big marketing push that happened last cycle with Hex, which was mailers and a lot of YouTube activity along with green prices. This all happened after ETH passed its all-time highs, right? It was actually a few weeks, I think a month past its all-time highs. And ETH has touched its all-time highs this cycle, but it's yet to actually carry past. So this is a big indicator for me is, hey, ETH still isn't at the place where it was last cycle, where, in my opinion, Richard really started to move his chess pieces for the checkmate of that cycle. So I feel like we're just kind of waiting for the game to get set up for him to start moving his pieces. In the meantime, we can kind of see it all playing out, but there's some important parts that have to play out prior to Richard's moves, right? He needs the landscape set up, and he was so successful with those moves last cycle. Everyone remembers, everyone was talking about Hex, everyone was bullish on Hex. The amount of community that got onboarded last cycle in just a small 6-month period, I always say I think it probably increased by 10 to 50x the community of Hex. If just 10x the community of PulseChain, I think that would be massive. That would be 50,000 users, maybe 100,000 users. If we do more than that, that's just beyond awesome. We know how little liquidity is on chain. If 100,000 users come in with $5,000, legitimately, 1,000x is in the cards at that point. So I think we kind of just need to let the rest of the cycle play out, let ETH go and hit its all-time high and move past it, and see what tricks and what moves Richard has in store for his blockchain. By studying what he did with Hex, it was nothing too crazy besides him just marketing his products and letting the products speak for themselves. The fact that they have this 100% uptime, the fact that mathematically they are designed to go up in price. The funny thing is that's better than 99% of the products just right there. And now you add in the fact that he has the financial ability to help increase the value of his charts. He has the reputation that he has of being a huge figure in PulseChain. He's an amazing streamer. He's an amazing debater. Now he has even more products and levers to pull on to help price move up. It could get really interesting very quickly. I think we just need the landscape that we're in, the market to mature a little bit more this cycle, and then I think it's go
time. The last cycle too, he timed it so that the sacrifices were at the top of that, when Hex topped, which I think that was super strategic that he did that. And I feel like this time he has this marketing campaign, and I feel like he probably has a couple of other things up his sleeve to kind of mastermind the whole the pump, because Banana and I were talking about the Hex pump from last cycle and just how crazy it was. I mean, it was violent and it went on for a long time. And that's when I first got into crypto. I'm like, dang, is this how it always is? Is this what always happens? And I didn't realize that I entered literally during the perfect storm of just marketing and timing and the market cycle and, to your point, the ETH topping and then the sacrifices. And he just masterminded it so it all hit, and it played out really beautifully. So, that wasn't by accident and it wasn't a fluke. So I do know that he is strategic, and the marketing now, the devices or the mailers are being sent out now, and I think it'll be really, really interesting to see how this plays out in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I definitely think as this cycle matures, there is going to be something that comes out that delays value until the next cycle, right? I don't know. I don't think it's like a sacrifice, but it could be something with an APY incentive. Hey, delay a portion of your bag, put it in here. It's going to pay you. This is built by Richard. You can trust it's on the blockchain. I do think something will come out, and that something is going to help with price appreciation, because a lot of people don't realize this, that the sacrifices of Pulse and PulseX really helped with the price appreciation of Hex, because users now were having this new thing that they were able to put some of their Hex gains into that obviously got transferred into this cycle, but also a lot of new onboards were buying Hex and then sacrificing Hex as well. So it was kind of pumping up the price of Hex, but then there was no sell-off because those tokens were being transferred to wallets that didn't end up selling. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to be a sacrifice like that or anything like that, but I do believe that there will be something this cycle that comes out that's going to either delay the gratification of people that are here right now who are up a bunch of X's, and also the new onboards that come in, obviously trying to also expose themselves to great products with price appreciation.
I'm getting the Internet Money wallet set up on my computer. I don't know if you guys know this, but there are at least 2 places where you can get free PLS. So as people come, either send them some PLS, or, if they don't have any, or send them to two different places. I can think of one off the top of my head, which is secretobank.com. There's a Pulse faucet at the bottom. Just scroll all the way down, and you can get 5,000 free PLS from that faucet. But if you hold millions of PLS, there's a donation address also. So I have donated to secretobank.com, but I just got 5,000 PLS from the faucet for my new wallet that I set up on my Internet Money, just to test the faucet out,
Yeah, I also think when you bridge ETH across, if you don't have any PLS in that wallet, it will give you some PLS as well with the traditional Brit.
Okay. Yep, that is true.
And then I think,
hey guys.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to say about the PLS faucet. Basically, it's for people that bridge in with like $50 or more of any of the stables or wrapped ETH, and maybe 1 or 2 more. If they have more than $50 but 0 PLS, they can use that faucet and get 5,000 PLS.
Okay. Is this Snowflake?
Faucet on the Credo Bank?
Yeah, this is Snowflake.
Okay.
Hey, Snowflake, is this the faucet on Secreto Bank, or is this the faucet that automatically drips it to you when you use the PulseChain grid?
So that has been working, and that is not mine, but that drip is, I don't know who does that, but that's automatic, and it has been working. I made the faucet, the freepls.com, when it wasn't working, and they said it was, and it was taking like 2 days for me to get anything.
Yeah. Okay. So I get what you're saying now. So right now, just for everyone listening, the bridge faucet, when you bridge over USDC or ETH, it automatically gives you, that is working right now. But in the past, it kind of wasn't working for a little bit. Snowflake made his own faucet for that time, which also works, that you can still use today. So now, right now, we have both options up there. But if the PulseChain bridge one is ever not working, you can go ahead and use snowflakes, right?
Correct.
Cool.
I think
And if you were able to onboard a friend, and he's like, hey, give me $300 of USDC, and you send it to him, he'll be able to use the faucet.
because he doesn't have any PLS.
Because he doesn't have any PLS.
Right. Okay. And I think when you bridge, you get 3,690 PLS.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Right on. So how can you disclose how much PLS is in that faucet? Like, I'm just trying to think how many people can come over and get a free $5,000 in PLS.
So it won't let you, if you've already claimed there, it'll freeze you. And if you have more than so much PLS, it won't let you use it.
Sure. But like, how many people with nothing in their wallet can get free PLS? Like, is it 100? Is it 1,000?
There's like $20 or $50 in there. You could look at you could look at the donation address, and
true.
I think it pulls it directly from there.
Of course. Yeah. I might do that. But $20 of PLS right now is, let me see, 521,000. So that's enough for 100 people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we have a lot of people that we're onboarding using it, let's try to also get those people to give back to it a little bit, at least,
Yes.
throw $2 back if they utilized it to get a few cents to keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When PulseChain launched, I needed some pulse. I didn't have any pulse. And some gentleman, I just reached out in a chat. I'm like, guys, I need some pulse. How do I get pulse? This dude sent me 10,000 PLS, man. Made my day. I never forgot. Yeah, it means a lot when you are in a jam and somebody steps up and helps. So
I was 100% in the same boat. I missed the Pulse sacrifice, and I only sacrificed for PLSX. So I had like $8,000 on a sacrifice, but I had no PLS to trade, and gas was high as well. So I found some random guy on Telegram and gave him. He says, "All right, well, give me like $50 in Pulse X, and I'll give you like $10 in Pulse." I'm like, "All right, whatever it takes."
Yeah. And 10,000 PLS. I mean, come on. That's like, let's see what that is. 10,000 today. 38 cents. Yeah.
Hey, blue sky here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Hey, I just wanted to say I'm relatively new to crypto. The Tiger brought me on board.
Yeah.
And I've been using the Internet Money wallet, and I've been really pleased and excited, and have been sharing it with friends also. So just trying to grow the community and the inflow of money to Pulse.
Awesome. Are you on any social medias that we can follow you on?
I'm on I'm on TikTok. Not sure what not like a super savvy internet guy. Don't put out a lot of content or anything.
Okay.
I follow a lot of people like the Tiger. He's pretty inspiring. Wish he was here this morning, but yeah, just really enjoying it. This is my second time joining you guys on the Saturday talk.
Right on. Well, we're happy you're here. We're a big fan of the Tiger. Now, are you talking about Tiger Crypto God?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, because there's another Tiger out there, and I'm thinking I was getting them confused, but yeah, he is. He's He's an animal for onboarding
He's-
people.
He's a character. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's great.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions about the Gray's currencies? Like,
I don't at this time. A lot of it, I feel like at this point in my education is like going over my head, just trying to listen and learn.
okay. Yeah, one of the things that you can do when you're new to an ecosystem is, just get a bag of the tokens and then go educate yourself, attending the spaces like you are, jumping in some live streams and seeing some presentations and just learning about what you hold. And then you can figure out what to do with it, after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
man.
exciting stuff.
Oh man. Yeah. This is a good time. You got in at a great time.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Also, the Telegram, the pTGC Telegram is a really excellent place. If you have questions, there's a lot of support. People get back to ask questions, get answered right away, and it's a really good place. I asked a lot of questions in the beginning when I joined, when I first got into pTGC.
It is hard to find information. I've found online and things regarding different tokens, and the Tiger Crypto guy, he's been really helpful in getting the information on it.
Nice. I do a stream too. I'm not sure you're aware, but I do a stream twice a week where I present the Gray's currencies basically from start to finish. And that'll be tomorrow on my channel, the Prairie Banana on YouTube. That'll be tomorrow at it's basically 2 p.m. Pacific, and then on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Okay. All right. I'll try to join tomorrow.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, we appreciate you being in here.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's also recorded. Banana records those, so if you can't make the exact time, you can rewatch it later. It's still pretty impactful, even not live.
Just if you watch the last one, the one I did Wednesday, I did not do anything. We talked all about the Gray's currencies, but I didn't go into the mechanics at all. We were just rambling.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, one thing real quick, Blue Sky, to break pTGC down and UFO in a really easy fashion is it's bonded in liquidity, it's bonded and connected with a lot of the blue chips on chain. So when you hold pTGC and UFO, you're actually exposed to a lot of the tokens that matter on chain. You're exposed to all of Richard's tokens. You're exposed to some of the top meme tokens like Most and Pump, which are like meme tokens on the chain. You're also connected to some of the more speculative narratives like this PDI narrative and stuff. And you only have to hold one asset. So a lot of times when people come to a brand new blockchain, it's like walking into like a brand new world and they're like, whoa, I don't even know what direction I can go, what direction I should go. I don't really want to hold 30 different tokens. But when you hold pTGC or UFO, you're technically holding 30 plus tokens all in one asset. And the asset's also deflationary. So there's less and less tokens with every single transaction, making it scarce over time. Supply and demand principles, pretty much 101. Less supply, more demand as time goes on, pretty much economics 101. Also, APY is built into the code. So you can just hold pTGC or hold UFO, and you're going to earn more pTGC and UFO. And that comes from zero inflation. It comes from value that we generate off of the market just shifting up and down, and then we pay the holders. So those are like the really simple basics of the protocol. It's very much like S&P 500 style. Like by you holding one, you hold all. By holding pTGC, you're exposed to a lot of the tokens that are big on PulseChain. Plus, it's hyper deflationary. Plus, you have APY written in the code. it's pretty basic if you just look at those features. And Banana on his streams, he can go into like how to really get into the smart contract if you want to learn more.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Has Richard been tweeting at all lately? I mean, does he have any tweets that we should review?
I don't think he's been tweeting lately. We can look though.
I'm looking him up right now. September 2nd was his last tweet. He says PulseChain is so vastly superior to Ethereum L2s. It's insane. But people are too stupid to listen. Lol. Look at Starknet, down for hours, dropping transactions, had a down. Pitiful. I remember when one of their dummies told me that PulseChain would be unreliable. I was right. They were wrong, and their chain is down. Starknet. Yikes.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're just saying. Like, one of the features with PulseChain that we have on our side, we have the clarity from the SEC, but we also have the fact that we've been around for almost 2.5 years now with 100% uptime. That's super powerful for a new blockchain. Some of the biggest blockchains out there don't have, pretty much all of the blockchains out there do not have 100% uptime.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, like fundamentally, mechanically, like the foundation of this ecosystem is so much stronger than anyone realizes. Like mathematically, all the things that are like the main tokens on chain are all like self-propelling. And then obviously the 100% uptime, the robust bridge, the robust blockchain, the fact that Ethereum is kind of testing all new additions before it even gets to us. This is all really powerful because obviously, like in the real world, the bigger your foundation, the higher you can build your building, right? So I think I look at the foundation of PulseChain being so strong that when it comes time to actually building this building up, we have a foundation set already to go super, super high.
Vishal Patel asks, he says, do you guys ever do any chart analysis on these streams? We haven't. I'm not much of a chartist myself. So, no. Not opposed to it.
Yeah, I look at like the basics, on my own time. But one thing about pTGC and UFO that's very, very unique is it's so bonded with other assets that you'll even find times where pTGC will have like a lot of demand to it. And I've seen chart guys say, hey, a lot of demands here. It's going to need a retracement here soon. But then you'll look at the connected assets of pTGC, and the connected assets will be oversold and stuff like that, which then makes pTGC and UFO oversold. So pTGC is like an entity that's never existed in crypto or finance before. So a lot of the more traditional market analysis don't work as well as other products because there is so many variables playing into the system, along with the hyperdeflationary, the fact that there's a DAO with reserves, the fact that the community is incentivized to hold long term, there being not so many traders because there's a fee in and out, and the fact that it's bonded to so many assets that could just start pumping randomly at any time, it makes it very, very unique. So I kind of always said, like, people who like to use chart analysis, you also need to be charting the things that we're heavily bonded with at the same time because of the LP index style system.
Right.
You can have situations where we are somewhat overbought, and if our biggest LP pairs are oversold, we are oversold because of those reasons, right?
Yes.
It's very unique.
Yeah, I've heard that. So I don't put a lot of stock into TA on the Gray's currencies. Hey, question. You know how we talk about supply? We talked about it yesterday for pTGC, the available tokens. Does the same principle apply to UFO, or what are the differences?
So UFO has a lot more supply on the liquid market right now in liquidity. And this is due to a lot of people who have bought UFO have actually LP'd that UFO back up, right? So as far as being a super scarce asset, there is a lot more on the market for purchase of UFO for two reasons. One is people have bought and LP'd it to where with pTGC people buy and hold or stake it. They don't put it back into the market. And also UFO is a lower market cap. So as UFO increases due to people wanting it, they will be taking that supply off of the market and obviously increasing the price. But currently, UFO is not as scarce. There is more of it on the market than pTGC. But in general, both very, very scarce assets, right? And when I mean scarce, they're hyper deflationary. They're both decreasing their supply every single day, not only on human interaction, but also based on mechanical interaction, just the market moving up and down. And as time progresses, as years pass, decades pass, as long as PulseChain exists, which I believe will be a very long time, because if you look at Ethereum, Vitalik and his team talk about how Ethereum has been designed to last longer than Vitalik himself. And since we're a direct copy of that, with a lot of features that I think actually make us run even more autonomously to a point, we're obviously smaller and a little bit more centralized in those aspects, but also more decentralized in other aspects. We should last as long as Ethereum lasts, in my opinion, which they plan on it lasting forever, as long as internet. Yeah. So scarcity-wise, they're both very scarce assets. There is only so much that exists. There will never be any more that ever exists. What's on the market today is all that's going to be on the market forever. Besides, if someone sells their tokens into the existing LP pools, then those tokens will go into the LP pools. But there is only so many tokens. We have yet to see any real demand even come over to PulseChain. When real demand starts to come in, there's never going to be any more tokens to compensate for increasing demand. They will just become scarcer and scarcer and scarcer as more demand comes in, which pushes price up exponentially, right? Like that's a good thing for people in now, a bad thing for people sidelines.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been working so hard on doing these spaces. You've been working so hard on doing these spaces, really trying to educate people, because I do believe that when this demand comes into PulseChain, which I think is soon, the opportunity for getting large positions of pTGC and UFO for low dollar values can disappear super rapidly. And when demand starts coming in and when people see what this machine can actually become as it evolves over time, people will still be willing to buy whatever tokens are on the market. People will be coming in with millions of dollars trying to just get dolphin positions, because that's what the market has revalued the system at.
Yep.
That's how scarce it can become. Look at people today with Bitcoin. People are coming in with not millions of dollars, but tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, trying to just get fractions of the supply of Bitcoin. Fractions. Because it's a great store of value that appreciates better than other assets over long time periods. With liquidity. With decentralization.
Yepper.
Like becoming like a true decentralized store of value system, bigger than an individual entity. Like this goes for PulseChain too. This is why I think Bitcoin is so successful, because it's not tied to one single person like Satoshi's on. Even PulseChain, like we don't want it necessarily tied to Richard so much. We need his help getting it going, but we want it to be a truly decentralized store of value system. This goes for pTGC as well. We need the system to become bigger than an individual person. And this is how it will become a true large store of value system, something that isn't dependent on one person whatsoever. You know, pTGC, it doesn't matter if I'm here or not, right? Anyone can interact with the smart contracts. Anyone can store value in the system. Liquidity, for the most very large percentage of liquidity, is actually burnt. It can never go anywhere. It's truly decentralized, and we want to be on a blockchain that's truly decentralized as well, which I believe Richard has set up for us as far as a strong foundation. This is how a true revolution of store of value systems and financial freedom is going to come, right? It's not by interacting and just building more centralized systems that are controlled by individual entities that are programmed in their favor. We need to be switching as a community to these new style systems. And obviously Bitcoin was kind of the thought leader of this, kind of taken over at this point by the same entities that people were trying to get away from, honestly. So I hope Richard has the solution to this, right? And I think that would make PulseChain being the perfect place for a thing like pTGC, a store of value system that runs autonomously with no requirement of an individual entity. PulseChain would be the perfect place for it to exist, as long as Richard kind of pulls some of these strings that I think he's going to pull here very soon.
Yeah. Agreed. Itsock asks why UFO and pTGC doesn't do direct marketing like PulseChain is doing right now. And I'll go first. Let's let PulseChain do it first. Let's see what happens and deal with that. And, you know, deal with the onboarding, and then perhaps after that we'll look at some direct marketing.
Yeah, I don't think it's not in the cards, right? I think it's one of those things about putting the horse before the cart. In this example, I think we have to let PulseChain kind of get some mainstream media attention, some natural adoption, some organic growth. And as PulseChain becomes recognized as a mainstream blockchain, we then can do our own mainstream marketing as well as an individual product on this chain with individual solutions to, you know, by you hold one, you hold all, by deflationary systems, by store of value systems, by APY written within code, all the features that we love within pTGC that are unique to this protocol. We could then kind of push those ideas out there as adoption comes to PulseChain. Yeah. Right now, I think it's very difficult to market an individual product on a blockchain that looks currently like a sinking ship with less and less community members. We've done very well. Like, I've seen tons of people come to PulseChain specifically to be exposed to pTGC and UFO. I think this is going to increase drastically with just a slight uptick of PulseChain, showing users that this is not a sinking ship. It was just a consolidation period to get ready for the revaluation.
Hey, Prairie, I've got a thought on direct marketing. I've always been a fan of billboards, and I think there could be a time to have the community set up a billboard in like major cities. I don't think it's crazy expensive, but it gets a lot of eyes when they drive by. And in my opinion, I think the red is more of the time to showcase it, because those guys that do get in will then be able to say, look, I got a 10x on this coin. So when it is green, those guys on board.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. Do you have any idea the cost for advertising on a billboard?
I don't, but I was going to get together and figure some of that out in my local city. And it wouldn't be hard to just call around the other cities. And it depends on, you know, like I'm in a fairly big metropolitan, but everyone goes through like one or two freeways. So, I'd have to call around to see which markets we even care about.
Right. I think a billboard might work for impressions. I would want to see. It
doesn't have to be 100% pTGC because people won't understand. But maybe having an alien theme with pTGC and PulseChain will kind of get people thinking. That, along with maybe the mailers, could also help.
Yeah. Do you have any statistics on the effectiveness of using billboards for advertising? I mean, they must work because people obviously pay to use them. I just haven't.
It's all impressions. Yeah, like you said, it's all impressions. So I mean, you'd have to defer to whoever's marketing you. What kind of ROI they might possibly see from that. But it's crypto. What's the percentage of people in crypto now versus how many you're trying to have eyes on it? There's so many people that are like, the only thing they know about crypto is Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yes. Yep. There's a whole world of people out there that are coming to crypto. They just don't know it yet. They're coming in one aspect or another. Either they're going to hold like an asset like BTC or PulseChain in a wallet, or they're going to be interacting with it on a blockchain when real estate is tokenized and that sort of thing. But yeah, everybody's coming eventually.
Yeah, Snowflake, I agree with also the fact that like you could be selling the same product between two different billboards, but just your outbound messaging on that billboard can hit so differently. So just getting the right message on that billboard, if it's a combination of pTGC and UFO alongside PulseChain in general, getting that message out there to where it intrigues people could do a lot of onboarding, right? Mixing an alien mascot theme along with, the fact that there's new opportunities out there. If you've missed Bitcoin, if you've missed Ethereum, obviously both of those have done more than a 10,000x. People can relate to those ideas and people are looking for opportunities. They just don't know these opportunities exist because they're hidden.
Yeah, exactly what you said. I think the message isn't necessarily your token, but it's the whole chain. And then it's kind of like, and then it's your tokens kind of sponsoring it, or there's a message next to it.
Steven says, wow, first time catching you.
I think that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, how we're kind of letting the blockchain do a little bit of marketing too, because that's the horse in front of the cart. And even if we were doing our own marketing, we kind of have to put that horse in front of the cart either way.
Steven says, wow, first time catching alive and very bullish on pTGC and UFO, just accumulating as much as I can. Yeah, what's great about accumulating is if you just hold the Gray's currencies, you are accumulating. Just drip, drip, drip every day into your wallet. He also says, I can't believe I guess somebody has been selling pTGC and UFO savagely. So many degens instead of investor mentality. Sure, but they're paying all of us dividends when they leave. And some people are going to play I'm not. They're going to play the trade game. And some people do well at it. I sleep better at night knowing I'm just holding. Question. When your pTGC lock is finished and you don't claim, I believe you still accumulate rewards. Is that correct? That is correct. There are no penalties for not claiming. There's no penalties for having a mature lock either. You continue to earn rewards and they'll just stack up in your wallet. AJ Rip City Hex says, feelings, thoughts about people who believe once RH tickers start taking off, holders of all other coins will ape into core assets, including pTGC and UFO. I honestly don't believe this, but there are. So he's saying once PulseChain takes off, people will be likely to ape into core tickers. Yeah.
So previously, right, we've been around for 2 years now. And previously when PLS takes off, when it starts to move, pTGC has outperformed PLS drastically. And a lot of people, I think, because we've been stuck in an echo chamber so long on PulseChain, have gotten so used to the same money just rotating in and out of Richard's tickers to alts to Richard's tickers, from Richard's tickers to alts, or alt to new alt, and no actual new value flowing in. So they forgot what that is actually like and what that actually does for a market. So when Richard's tickers start to increase, PLS will increase because of new value coming in, new users coming in, right? And we have to kind of look at other blockchains of what happens when new users come in, when PLS increases. When PLS increases, what this means is there's more value flowing into the blockchain than flowing out. When PLS is going down, that means there's more money flowing out than flowing in. So when PLS is increasing, that means there is more value flowing in. And a portion of that value is going to make its way to alt tokens, right? So as it lands to PLS, we automatically get those gains. And then whatever alt token it makes its way to, we also get those gains as well because we are connected to all of these alts. 100%, there will be a portion of users who take profit from pTGC or UFO back into Richard's tickers or back into fiat, right? This is guaranteed. But when when money starts flowing into risk on assets, when PLS goes up, what PLS going up means is there is more inflow than outflow, right? And we've actually witnessed this 2 times already on PulseChain. And that's why you've seen a greater increase on sustainable alts with product market fit, even over PulseChain when PulseChain starts going up, because there's actual new value flowing in that wants to be exposed to it. When PLS is going down, that means money's leaving the blockchain, which doesn't only come from PulseChain. When money leaves blockchain, it doesn't only come from the gas token. It also comes from the alts on the blockchain, which usually means those alt tokens fall down a little bit more than the gas token because the reflexivity works both directions. So I do think our own community just needs to recognize, if we believe in PulseChain, we actually believe new value is going to flow in. And I think it's naive to think that that new value isn't going to make its way to the good, sustainable alt tokens that have product market fit on the chain, alongside to that new value also falling into Richard's tickers. I believe they will land on both. Personally, because we've seen in the last 2 years that a lot of people actually want to be exposed to these alternative alt tokens on the blockchain, not just Richard's tickers. So why would the new money flowing in have any bit of a difference? There is going to be those weeks and days where, yeah, money flows out of alts into Richard's tickers because the money that's here right now become fearful and think, oh, Richard's about to pump his tokens. But the new money coming in doesn't necessarily have those thoughts. They are new money coming in. They're going to put a portion of their revenue or their value in Richard's tickers, but they're also going to have a portion of their portfolio that they're willing to speculate on the alternative alts on the blockchain as well. And we can see this on the previous upticks of PulseChain. We've seen like 2 major ones since pTGC's existence. And what happened was more value went into pTGC and UFO than went out. So the people who think that, obviously that is a possibility that can happen. But the best thing we can do is look at the past to help predict the future. And what the past tells us is pTGC and UFO pumped harder than Richard's tickers due to how reflexivity functions. And even the human emotion couldn't counteract how powerful reflexivity is.
Who else wants to come up and chat? How many people do we have on Spaces today? Does anybody know?
Seems like a little bit of a lighter day today.
Yeah, looks like about 35 or so. It is a lighter day. I mean, just about 6-8 weeks ago, we had, I think, over 150. It was a record breaker. I recorded it. If you guys haven't seen the stream from yesterday, especially if you like to see visuals, it's visual heavy. Okay. And it's on my channel, The Prairie Banana. Recorded it with Zen. Yeah, yesterday morning.
41 visuals built by bananas.
Yeah. 41 charts. And it was good, man. I love the charts. I'll tell you how I create them. It's really easy. Canva. I just literally like copy the data that I've been keeping in this spreadsheet, paste it into Canva, into the chart, I'm stunned, man, at how easy it is. And I'm also stunned at having that visual, because when you're looking at a spreadsheet, it does not have the impact of seeing it in like a bar graph or a line graph. So I am absolutely very, very pleased with these slides. And I think you guys, especially if you're a data head, I think you guys I think they'll fire you up, man. Just go you're looking at I'm looking at one right now. It's August of last year to August of this year. pTGC and UFO percent of PulseChain's volume. It's like, what? We can actually see the percentage of volume that pTGC and UFO have attained over a 13-month period, upwards of, nearly 2.5% of the total chain's volume just between our two tokens. And there's all kind of charts like this in that stream. Go enjoy it.
Yeah, I think the visuals are super powerful, right? People need visuals. I need visuals. I love to see visuals, charts explaining the numbers on the sheets. Also, I think what was really helpful is Banana was kind of walking everyone through every visual, telling them, hey, this is what this graph is representing, and this is where these numbers were brought from. I think that helps to really get the full impact of each visual. I thought it was an awesome stream. 41 graphs. We went through one by one.
Yeah, and I built 2 or 3 more after that stream yesterday. I was like, oops, missed a few. They're all going to be in the book too, by the way, guys. So.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe by next month, Banana will have like 10 more. We'll have 50 to go through.
As long as they tell a story, that's the main thing. It's not to have a bunch of visuals, but each visual needs to have there needs to be a reason for it, So.
Yeah, I'm really hoping my team gets at least my stats page on the new site done here soon. They're really taking forever on this website. But I asked them to at least get the stats page done for me, so at least I can work with those visuals and use them to showcase, the power of pTGC's mechanics, even if we take a little bit longer on the dApps, because I want to get them audited and everything once they're complete, etc. So I know those kind of have a longer term kind of timeline to them. So I'm like, hey, let's at least get these stats pages done. So me and Banana can go over these stats pages when we're live and, make tweets about them, etc. Especially because we think that, we're going to get some good up action here on PulseChain soon. And we want these charts to be able to work with constantly.
Yeah, we're going to be streaming with those charts once a month. I mean, we have been streaming about them pretty much once a month, but now that we have them in a chart format, and we're not just talking off of a spreadsheet, it's going to be good. I'm excited. I'm excited for green candles and see the supply burn and all that stuff. And we're gonna see it in a visual format. It's gonna be amazing. I don't know of another ecosystem that has this kind of material. I mean, tell me. I want to know. I'll be kind of disappointed, honestly. But I mean, if you know of another ecosystem that has, tools like this, visual tools, let me know. I'm curious. AJ Rip City Hex asks, best place to buy and what's the slippage? Oh, let's see. PulseX. Go to PulseX. Set your slippage to 6% for pTGC, 7% for UFO. And then, while we're talking about, buying tokens, we may as well mention, because I mean, how much of these tokens are you going to buy? You don't need to answer that, but it's a question you're going to ask if you're going to buy both of them, because you can get more supply of UFO than you can of pTGC, and if that matters to you, then it's worth knowing you can get like 5 times more of the supply of UFO. But like I've said on stream a couple of times, like if you put a gun to my head and ask me which one is going to do better than the other, I mean, I can't answer. I just don't know. But there you have it. PulseX, and then 6% and 7. And buy it from a wallet you plan to keep it on, because if you transfer it, you will pay the tax again. And if you have any other questions, AJ, you can PM me or jump into the Telegram also. Does anybody else care to come up and chat?
I think it was really cool to see Donovan from DIY Investing talking about pTGC. He's been really vocal about it lately. He's super bullish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that, Banana? That he said that these are probably the lowest prices we're going to see, and that is primed to really take off.
Yes, I did. I did see that, and I think he posted again yesterday about it. Somebody told me, and he's got like what 75,000 followers on X and 120,000 people on YouTube, something like that. I'm probably inflating those numbers, but yeah, he's a good guy to have on our team, if we can put it that way. I'd like to meet him.
He's made a lot of really good calls in the past. He's been really accurate. So so that's why he's such a big follower. He's a really good streamer. He's a nice guy. I met him at the Pulse conference. Not this last one, but the one before. I met him. Okay. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he's just south of me. He's a sharp wit. I mean, that dude is just one of those guys that's on top of everything he gets into, man. Smart.
Yeah. I think Crypto Coffee was the one who onboarded him.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's super bullish on PulseChain as well, which is great. He thinks it's the project. Like PulseChain is going to be the biggest story of all of this cycle.
Yeah. Yep. Very likely. It'll be the last project on people's mind, I think, because I think we're probably going to run last. So what's going to be the first one on people's mind when we all come back to crypto in 4 years? PulseChain. Not that we're going to leave, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but now I think you made a pretty good point there. Just you mentioning that he's a great person to have on this team. I think the team, the community, the community team, I like calling it a team, but it's the community just stepping up as a team. Behind pTGC at this point, going into the bull run, I think is super strong and educated. When new users come in, we have a lot of people in different places. We're not all in the same place. We have kind of, like you said, now we have Donovan over in his little area, onboarding through his own route and his own ecosystem, his own community. We have, what you're doing, Banana. We have what Mando does. We have what Stylist is doing now. Stylist is even helping you on Saturdays, and Stylist brings her own energy, and the fact that, you know, she's been a long PulseChain's journey from the last 4 years. She used to stream and still does do streams here and there. We also have other people that are like sub-community members just in other places, and it kind of all funnels back into pTGC through all these unique routes, and it's a good group of people, right? Like, and then you even got Mando educating on the spaces sometimes in the Telegram. You got B Roots marketing in his own direction with his own community, and they're all of these different locations, but all kind of ending up in the same location.
Yes.
And it's just something that I think is super powerful that isn't going to really be seen until it's seen, right? Like, hey, you know, we're all kind of in our different areas right now doing our own work, but at some point it's all going to come together, and it's going to be like, wow, that's a pretty powerful unit. There's 16,000 holders of pTGC. I think half of them obviously are very low amounts. We were talking about this yesterday. They have $1,000 or less, but half of those ones have $1,000 or more. And that's a lot of people when stuff starts heating up, spreading the word of what pTGC is. And I believe a lot of them are very well educated on pTGC as well and what the system is and how it works.
Yes. I got a note from a buddy of mine yesterday. He says, "Howdy, Prairie. Seems within the next month or so, maybe sooner, we're about to cross the threshold of suddenly tons of eyeballs on this ecosystem. I vote every day on PLS Folio, and I thought that the YouTube title, Your PulseChain Help Desk, was brilliant. Between yourself, Zen, Mando, and others growing, and ladies like Taylor B and Bella and Stylist starting to be more public about this, we truly have the dream team. I'll be ramping up my efforts as well. And my apologies for my brief absence of late for pTGC and UFO, the sky," and he crosses it out, "the intergalactic is the limit." And this is a sharp dude. I like this guy. And he is absolutely an asset for the Grays community. And he's excited.
Yeah, that's an awesome post or message that you got sent.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with him. I think, you know, the people we have educated and like want to see the people who want to see pTGC succeed are really great people, really helpful people. I really look at them as some of the most positive people on PulseChain and people trying to help PulseChain in general, alongside helping pTGC and UFO. Very like symbiotic relationship there, cohesive. I'm excited for it, right? I think the team is stout. They're battle tested. You know, we're like, pTGC is the ship that's just endured everything and has endured it no problem. And then the people on the ship are like the best crewmates that you could ever imagine. Just prepared, ready, equipped, everything you could imagine. We have it on here. Just excited to see, you know, this last stretch to the promised land with everyone and with the ship.
Mm-hmm. What else, guys? Who has comments, questions?
I have some comments. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I'm working, so it's probably a little loud in here. But I just wanted to come on and thank you, Zen, for just continuing to step up and carry the ball. Obviously, longtime pTGC UFO holder. Very grateful for you guys doing all your work that you do, that we all do. Wherever we are. I like what you just said, Zen. You're like, everybody is doing their part, and that is culminates for all of us to build the greatest blockchain on the planet, which I believe we are a part of, and we couldn't have a better crew that's come together in this last 2.5 years. We all started here with Hex, and there was a bright, shiny moment that we thank God for, that Richard Hart came up with this idea of forking ETH and what I believe, took a historical turn in blockchain history. And I believe that, at the end, we're going to be the shining place at the top of the hill. And I think pTGC UFO is probably going to be, the top dog. And I don't get to talk about it a lot. We're doing so many things, all of us. But I am grateful. I did ask a couple, newbie questions. There is people out there asking, well, what's going to happen? All the big holders of UFO and pTGC are going to leave. They're all going to go back into, RH tokens. And I don't agree. I don't agree with that. And I think you broke it down marvelously, Zen. And thank you for that. And I think that should be a pretty common conversation that you're having, because people do think that. They think that, once things start pumping on PulseChain, everybody from every other project is just going to ape into RH tokens. And it could happen, but I don't think that they understand the mechanics of UFO and pTGC. And also, a reoccurring theme should be, where do I buy and what's the slippage? And I think you did great with all that. So thank you guys very much for everything that you do. Your whole ecosystem and everyone in it is just a great and historical place that we're building here, and I love it, and I love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Ripsy,
Yeah, man,
coming up. I think you're an awesome example of kind of what I was just talking about. Is we have these friends in all these places on this blockchain who also believe in the same things we believe in. We believe in PulseChain in general, and then maybe you're not in these VCs every single week, every single time, but you're a pTGC and UFO community member in your own sub-ecosystem and community as well that believes, but also kind of working in a different direction. And working in a different direction is sometimes really productive, right? Like if we have all these community members kind of working all in their own unique direction, like for an example, B-Roots. Like B-Roots is working in a completely different direction that I work in on a daily basis. But he's a net positive to our ecosystem. He's constantly onboarding for our ecosystem. Banana's working in a different direction than I'm working on. Look at him with starting his PulseChain help desk. But the pTGC ecosystem is like all interconnecting. It's literally the liquidity web of this whole entire blockchain. And it's not a liquidity web of just assets on chain, but also a liquidity web of community members due to the fact of how large it's become and how many people actually have a position in this protocol. And when this blockchain starts to become successful, when pTGC starts to rise to $1 billion market cap, $2 billion market cap, and makes its way into the, what we believe into the top 25, 50, however high it gets in all of crypto, it's like almost it's a community-driven ecosystem. It's decentralized. It's automated. It's owned by the dead address, right? It's renounced. It's just code on the chain that a ton of the PulseChain ecosystem has a hand in and has a hand in its success. And I think that's a super cool story. And it's, super cool that you came up right now because you're just like a great example of someone who isn't here every day, but you're grinding in these other directions, and that grinding in a way, even if that's not onboarding directly to pTGC every day, but if you're onboarding to PulseChain, you're onboarding to the success of pTGC just in general.
Yep.
So it's just super cool.
Dude, that is so true. And look at everyone here, dude. Everyone here is doing their thing. Because they all believe this thing. We all drink the Kool-Aid, right? Like I got a buddy that's putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into PulseChain at the lows here after already doing it, 2.5 years ago. And it's just like, dude, I think we're just about to turn the corner. And, I tell people every day, man, and I've been telling them, and it's just about, what's in your heart, where do you think we are, where do you think we're going, and what does it truly mean for DeFi? And I think that we're just a cut above. And everyone that is on Ethereum, just like we were one day, and all were wanting and hoping and dreaming about these things for Ethereum to happen. And all of a sudden, Richard was like, well, I'm going to make it happen. And here we are. And how long does it fucking take? How long does it take to become the greatest blockchain on earth? Well, it takes as long as it takes. And you just got to believe. And I think Richard has us here. And I do believe that he will step up at some point. I don't know when that is. It could be really soon. Rate cuts are about to happen. Dude, we're in this pivotal moment right now. And congratulations if you're still here hanging on for dear life, right?
Yeah, great things aren't easy. Great things take time. It's not something that just you copy and paste and it's there the next day. It's a journey. It's not easy. It takes time, and I think that's what we're experiencing right now. But the end result, the end reward can be so amazing. It's insane.
That's for sure. Who else has comments, questions? Anybody can come up and talk. Now's your chance. We won't have spaces again until Monday.
I think, Banana, could you do some moon math based on what we think could happen with a marketing campaign?
Yep, we can do that. How do you want to approach it? Do you give me some, or Zen, give me some idea of numbers you want to plug in. You want to start with PulseChain and the impact that mailers could perhaps have on PulseChain, and then move that impact over to pTGC.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, so we're up 9x in the last year against PulseChain. So I think that's maybe a fair, or maybe we could do half of that as far as an X multiplier for pTGC.
Okay.
And I did like stylist numbers that she was kind of breaking down from that stream yesterday. I think you said it was $50 million coming over just from a 1% success rate of these mailers and $1,000 from each user, which I think is just nothing. We can even play with some big numbers too.
Yeah. Yeah, we could play with conservative and then not so conservative.
Okay, conservative, $50 million coming into PLS.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, oops. Come on now. $50 million. The impact on PLS would be a 47x. Now we'll bring that over to, and I'm showing this for the viewers on YouTube if you guys want to watch. Oops. Well, we'll bring that over to the Moon Math calculator. Let's do a 5x for the X factor. And then 47x. So it would be 47 times 5. The impact on pTGC. Oh, I got to select pTGC PLS. Hold on. 47.
Hey, let's remember that, these are just marketing numbers. This has nothing to do, or it's not influenced at all by any of the SAC funds or any of RH influence at all. These are just numbers that you're going over potentially, right?
Yeah,
for the marketing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, I'm with Zen. I think these estimates are low. I mean, people bringing in $1,000. Yeah, that's their first week. And once their $1,000 is now worth $1,200, they're going to bring in another $1,000. And then they're going to be telling all of their friends, all their workmates, the relatives. We're coming up on holidays where people are going to be standing in their grandma's kitchen or uncle's kitchen, and they're going to be talking about crypto, or they won't be talking about crypto until they see that device that's on their refrigerator, and they'll be like, "What's that all about?" And then it could go crazy. So a 5x factor in pTGC, 47x on PLS. The impact on pTGC would be a 235x, or a nearly 9-cent pTGC. 235x. $1 becomes worth 235. $1,000, 235,000.
Okay, and the banana earlier, you were saying you were playing with a 3.5%. So 3.5% of 5 million people put in $1,000.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, another fun way I like to look at it too is even if you're having a 1% success rate on the marketing piece itself, I think the 1% or the $1,000 is actually a very low number, considering the fact that the $1,000 might be just their initial, but they might DCA over time, or they might tell some friends. So, like, yeah, you might have a 1% success rate on the marketing piece to the consumer, but that consumer, what's the percentage of that consumer bringing in more than $1,000 or bringing in a few friends? I would think if you ask anyone here on PulseChain how much money they brought into PulseChain, it would be much over $1,000, and the amount of people they brought in individually is much over 2. Everyone you ask.
Yeah, everybody that's still here.
So I think you could even say, oh, maybe the marketing pieces have a 1% success rate per marketing piece, but I definitely think per person that actually takes action on that marketing piece, I think $5,000 per person is a low average, honestly.
Yeah.
Considering them DCAing or telling friends, if you consider whatever person that marketing piece onboards after that individual person is also linked to that one marketing piece.
Yeah, and some people are going to bring $5,000. Some are going to bring hundreds of thousands of dollars into PulseChain. Absolutely. And the marketing pieces are just plausible deniability for RH to perhaps pump his own change. But the previous example was $50 million coming in. If we got a 3% response and only $1,000 from each, that would be $150 million. So that would 345x PulseChain, 5x factor on pTGC, 345x on PulseChain. The impact would be 1,725x on pTGC, or a 62-cent pTGC. And then let's do UFO. Let's talk about UFO. Same math on UFO. Of course, it's 1,725 x, but it would be a 4-cent UFO.
Another metric that a lot of people don't talk about is when PulseChain starts going up in price, PulseChain just marketing itself, nothing to do with the marketing pieces, just other blockchain people seeing this blockchain starting to be successful and how powerful it is.
Yeah.
And its own community actually having a chart that they can educate people on, and its own community starting to become more financially free. And by them becoming more financially free, the word spreads. Me personally, I was onboarded by a day one Hex person that was already up on his initial, and he heard that I was in crypto. He knew I was heavily invested in Bitcoin and ETH, and he was like, hey, I've done pretty well with Hex. You should take a look at it. And by him doing well in Hex, it gave him the confidence to educate me on it, to tell me to look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The word spread that he was doing decent. I forget if someone said, hey, you should talk to him about this, or I just was with him. He's like, hey, I heard you're into this. I'm into this too. Where people tend to not bring it up when it's super down. But imagine a scenario when we're up 10x from here. The morale of even the existing community, them just reaching out to one person each. One person each. If you say we have 10,000 people right now and everyone just reached out to one person each, 10,000 active people, one person each, that's, if they brought all in $1,000, that's a good chunk of value right there. So Richard in his recent tweet used the example as the match is about to be struck. The marketing is just one piece of kindling to this fire that could just start to burn. Mm-hmm. There's so many different avenues that onboarding and price appreciation and value injection can come from. Richard knows, other blockchains just seeing a chart pumping, existing community members actually having a product they want to tell people about because of price appreciation, marketing pieces, the gifts. Like when we're running these numbers, we were just running numbers solely off of these gifts, not taking into consideration the other 10 major things that are also a part of the equation.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to be listed. PulseChain is going to be listed on a centralized exchange at some point. And if it goes onto a big centralized exchange, like imagine the rest of the exchanges are going to want to list PulseChain also, and that would just open up the floodgates to everybody to come onto the chain much more easily too.
Yeah, I think Zen, you're making a big point there, and I was going to bring it up too. There is a real reality of even a lot of great people on PulseChain that have been here from the beginning. There is just a reality that even though you should be buying now if you want the absolute best price, it doesn't matter to a lot of people, right? They would rather see a confirmation of a positive reversal and an uptrend and a positive energy happening and Richard show back up or whatever it looks like to them before they start re-engaging their peers, re-engaging their friends, re-engaging their family, because they don't care that their family buys the absolute bottom. They just care that their family's funds are protected and safer, right? This is not a safe investment, in quotes. Some of us think it's perfectly fine, but at the end of the day, if there is a turnaround and whatever happens, and you have positive sentiment, not only will that happen within our own community, which is massive because so many people will come back, but the larger, grander, broader crypto community of all those people that have either came and gone or laughed at Richard or not laughed at whatever, they will engage. And so that's really when you start having, network effects start to happen. But it does not happen, just like you said, until you have some kind of a confirmation of a reversal.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think my onboarding would have never happened if Hex wasn't on an uptrend when I was introduced to Hex. Where I was introduced somewhat early, like I was introduced pretty much around the penny, I'm pretty sure. I don't recall the exact date. Obviously, it could have been introduced a lot earlier, but Hex was at the point where it was already changing this guy's life financially for the good. And he felt obligated to inform some other peers about the opportunity, it seemed, right? Or just, just it comes up in conversation, when you have a family member who now is able to get their family a better car or get their family in a better living situation in better school districts due to this financial instrument, this investment. And that word does start to spread, right? And when people hear that, Banana's life got changed, even a small amount due to this, they are intrigued, right? They want to know, but they're not intrigued when it's down, right? They're not intrigued when someone's investment is worth half of what it was in the last 4 years. They're staying away from that. But when they find out that their investment is worth 5 times the amount that they got in with 4 years ago, they're now very intrigued. They now want to be exposed to it. And this is where that network effect spreads so rapidly that doesn't even take into consideration the marketing to normies, the marketing to other chains, the YouTube algorithm starting to push us, the green candles onboarding people. Like, there's so many other pieces to the equation than just the marketing pieces or just the peer-to-peer or just Richard's funds coming over. Like, you have to add all that stuff together. And what that kind of reminds me of, and what I think Richard's really doing, is he's creating the situation that happened possibly with like SHIB or Doge, to where there was a week-long period where there was huge moves daily. Not huge moves like 30% moves like 200 to 300% moves. Because these are the moves that don't only get the eyeballs of everyone in crypto, they get the eyeballs of every person in the world, because it starts getting in mainstream media. It starts getting put in newspapers. It gets talked about on actual news outlets because the move is that drastic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you make a small marketing campaign turn into one of the biggest marketing campaigns in a 2-week period. Like, it could be literally that short of time period. That's how
I remember it. I remember it happening with Hex. Zed. I remember Hex being on mainstream television programs, and they're just talking about, my God, Hex is number 5 in the world. What's this Hex?
And it doesn't matter what's happened from the last 3 years,
Yep.
right? It doesn't matter what's happened from the last 2 years. What people care about is what's happened that last week. That's all they're talking about. You are always going to be identified by your last move, not your previous 2
Sure.
years.
Wow, that's good.
This is any sport, right? Like, you can have a tennis player who has been ranked 100 for the last 5 years, but if he goes on a run and wins the U.S. Open, that's what he's remembered of by that day. That's what everyone is talking about.
Mm-hmm. Two.
I think that's what the suppression and the buildup is of PulseChain currently. I think it's taking every bit of ammo that we have and consolidating it into a small point in time to where we can get maximum impact marketing and media wise during the right time period. So it's not spread out amongst a long time period to where it falls on faint ears, or whatever the saying is. I think it's being consolidated to where it has maximum impact in short amount of times. This is what he did with Hex. Just like you said, it was a short time period where it was everywhere. You couldn't look anywhere and not see it.
Right now, Prairie, she wanted some more moon math. It is 111 million PLS to 1 ETH. Now, remember, many of us have talked about the ratio, but 111 million PLS to 1 ETH. The network was forked at 1.2 million PLS to 1 ETH. So let's just round it to like 100x to get that ratio back to parity. So if you would give PLS 100x from here to get back to a 1.2 million to 1 ratio with PLS to ETH, and then a 5x on pTGC, can you just do that, run that math? Because to me that does represent a potential reality. A potential reality, because I do think that is a benchmark that makes a lot of sense as actually a very toned down benchmark to watch PLS reach parity with the forked ratio, and you're looking about 100x to do that. So if we 100x pulse, and the thing is that people want to go off of the SAC rate of 3 zeros and a 1. But it doesn't matter what people want to go off of. What people need to go off of is what the price actually bottomed at, and that's just how it works in crypto. So if you put the mood math in about 100x on PulseChain from where we're at now, and a 5x multiplier on pTGC, where does that land the token?
Okay, 5x for pTGC, 100x. PulseChain, that lands us at 18 cents, 500x. That's a lot of X's.
And to be honest, for PulseChain to do that is indicative of a very nominal move for a layer 1 blockchain, the quality of PulseChain in its first cycle. that's a very nominal move.
Very.
Especially given the fact that it's currently at 4 zeros and what, a 3839.
Yes.
And that's way under even what sacrificers purchased the tokens at during the sacrifice set. So that's you said an 18 cent?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a very realistic number.
I agree. And Steven agrees with you also. He says, I think Richard has a few surprise moves coming, which will stun our ecosystem and the wider crypto market. It will put us in the spotlight and catapult the chain to a 300x plus. That's about where my head is. I was at 100x until I learned about the marketing campaign, and now I'm at 500. And he could do more. I mean, the average L1 does something like, I want to say upper 600 X's, about 700X its first cycle. And I don't think Richard Hart's average.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tweeted to Richard about 2 weeks ago on this topic of the ratio, and it went viral. Like, I think like 25,000 views or something like that within a matter of days, because the numbers just make sense, right? If it was me, I would want my blockchain to at least get back to the forked ratio, which is indicative of a great move, but it's not indicative of a massive move. It's a nominal move for this blockchain to go up from where it is now 100x. That's actually it's a wonderful move. Everybody would be happy with that, but it's not indicative of some massive move that we've seen in layer ones, their first cycle, in the last 2 cycles. So it's actually a very toned down estimate.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, what does that do for the machine of pTGC? Because we still haven't seen it. The machine of pTGC at a PulseChain, the native coin 100xing or 200xing, it just, I think it would just really stun a lot of people. I want to see this machine work, man, the way that it's intended to work. I wrote a post yesterday in the chat that said that, when the cores revalue, when the cores do their thing, that's when the pTGC ecosystem actually can operate at peak performance. So it's like I want to see the system at peak performance, and until then, I'm just going to be sitting here with my tent pitched, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Peak performance. How many gears does a Lamborghini have? Is it a 5 or 6? I have no idea, man. But 150 miles an hour, man. I want to see this machine at 150 miles an hour.
Zen, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know how many gears a Lamborghini has. I drive a Ford F-150.
No, I'm more talking about the ratios.
Yeah.
The forked ratio, and just the that number to me just seems so nominal to try to achieve at this point. It just seems like a very toned down number, to be honest.
Yeah, and we do try to be modest, but we're also here for X's, so we could go moony.
Yeah, the modest numbers, like Nino was saying, like just those, they're not crazy. Those modest numbers turn pTGC into an absolute monster. That turns the machine into a machine that crypto has never seen before. That machine alone could be a massive onboarding tool, not only for pTGC, but for PulseChain in general. That could equal hundreds of millions of dollars a year in value generation that gets paid 100% out to the community in either buying or selling ads or APY. These systems have never been seen before. It truly would revolutionize like store of value systems. I don't know anything that's ever existed that is like that. Obviously, it's somewhat dependent on the success of Pulse at those levels, but those levels are actually so easy to hit with just a moderate success of PulseChain. If Richard wants it to be successful, if the community wants it to be successful, obviously our community alongside Richard are doing huge marketing campaigns right now. The blockchain has such little liquidity. It is so easy to get to those new levels, and those new levels turn pTGC's machine into something never before seen before. This is a first cycle thing. We have every piece set in place to do exactly as we've intended, and I think it's going to be big. But like we were saying, like if the marketing campaign only has a 1% win ratio, and either that one person brings in $5,000 or they have a network of people that brings in $5,000. I think if you ask any active PulseChain community member, if they or they've conglomerately between their onboards have brought in over $5,000, I honestly think a very large percentage of them would say yes. And obviously there's some, that have brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now you take into consideration the onboarding of green candles, the onboarding of the existing community members. Very easily, this could equal hundreds of millions of dollars coming over the bridge by actual community members. This doesn't even include sacrifice funds or wallets that are owned by big entities that just don't want to be known. Large companies, governments, at this point, if PulseChain is actually successful, a real decentralized chain, a great store value system, all the value that can come in chasing that and what pTGC could become from these chain of events is mind-blowing, right? A fully decentralized system like pTGC, a system that's greater than just an individual person. It's code on the blockchain, it's autonomous, it's decentralized, no middleman, just math on the blockchain that can be used for as long as PulseChain exists. If Banana's here or not, if Mando's here or not, if I'm here or not, it will always be here. And that's something that I think has yet to be really done in this unique fashion. And it can evolve from what it is today into something massive very, very easily. And I think that's what we're kind of talking about right now, with just a little bit, with just a match dropped on this ecosystem. It can go up in flames so quick and cover so much ground so massively. It can make even the biggest believers like sit there shocked on how massive it can get. Even Mandos, people who have believed in Richard, have no doubt in their mind this chain is going to be widely successful. I believe that even what could happen so quickly, it could even shock him. With that said, there's also risk to reward. There is a risk that we don't get that adoption that we think we can with this product, and that's where the risk comes in, but the reward is absolutely massive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess the question is that where are you going to go though from here, one way or the other? To be honest, where do you go? Because the S curve is up with so many of these different things. PulseChain's
I think that
the last bastion of, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that means that the value flows to PulseChain. I think there's definitely going to be community members that do take some value out to, make sure their family in real life is taken care of, diversify a little bit. But if PulseChain turns into what I believe it will turn into, this will be the end point for true decentralized store of value, right? Which then makes pTGC and UFO being built on here the true, one of the true endpoints on top of the endpoint. which is like mind blowing to even think about.
So, like, I love that you say endpoints because clinically, like any study clinically done scientifically has a primary or secondary endpoint, etc. And I just want to attest to the fact that pTGC, I've seen 20K turn into $1 million. And I'm looking forward to seeing that again. And the beauty of the math is that it is immutable. And because of that, peaks and troughs. We're in a trough. The peak comes, interest rate cut, whatever, 1%, even better, coming. And it's pretty much, it's a rocket ship. It's good rocket science. So I just want to tell you guys that you built something great. I'm always going to be a holder. I love pTGC. It made me who I am, and I'm here. And that's about, it's a good feeling. It's a very good feeling when the math is actually correct. And that's appreciated. Everything outside of that doesn't have rocket science that is literally built to move at a higher level when the peaks hit versus the troughs. And so it's interesting, and I've seen troughs in pTGC and through the ecosystem, and we're just in a trough, and then the peak comes, and it's like it's a beautiful thing to watch the multiple green weekly candles. And so it's very soon for all of us. And so I want to thank you guys for what you built. God bless, and God bless America. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, and grab a little bag of your mom.
Yeah, a little side bag.
little side bag of your mom. It's linked PG. So you know, the rocket science comment, I like it. You know, and I just want to say that I think that at the end of the day, there's nothing that, I mean, it's still sitting at $105 million market cap. It's designed to reach this maximum peak performance. When Richard's chain makes that move, and
the first move.
Yeah, when it makes that move, and the power of the elation of that, and the volatility of that, I remember, Zen, when the system hit a tipping point, and you and I were first talking about that first tipping point in the system, and what that was that we were making so much PulseChain. The system was bringing in so much PulseChain that we couldn't even do enough proposals to put it in the system fast enough, which is a really good thing, by the way. That's not a bad thing. But it was the first time that there's, along the journey, there has been things that we just didn't think about, and Prairie's been there too, that we didn't even know was really going to crop up until they did. And you're like, wow, these are real true benchmarks of this rocket science that you can actually say, wow, we just watched what the system can begin to do that we have never seen before, based on the blockchain and the things that we're connected to actually beginning to see a little bit of energy. And every time we've seen that, those key performance indicators, when you extrapolate them by doing math, by multiplying them by 5 or by 10 or by 20, it's exactly what Zen said. It's, people will look back and say, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't see the opportunity in that thing. Most of the time it's either because, you know, they didn't like they're not used to a fee. They don't understand a fee. They only look at a fee and they say, oh, that's just another dumb meme coin, or that's just some scam coin or whatever. But that's just not the truth. And most of the time it's because these people are not educated about how the system works. And I said this last week, and then I'll hand it over to you. I don't take for granted, I don't at all anymore. I don't consider that anybody knows this system, that anybody understands this system. I don't care if I've seen you in here for the last 2 years anymore, because I've run into so many people in the TGs helping people or taking direct phone calls where they've been a community member, they've been holding for 15 months, and they have no clue what it is still.
Yeah, it's complex. The complexity makes one humble to just be like, it can be spoken to, but it can't be like specifically A to Z spoken to. And having said that, no, Amanda, I mean, you've been a good thought leader and always a wise person to bounce ideas off of. Guys, I was in here, and I always get the timing twisted. It was November 2022, I think. Like after the first 8 months of me being in the active PulseChain world, I didn't go through that 21-20 cycle. I just loved what the fucking chart did versus the cores. I was like, I had 4 cores, I was holding strong, and I saw pTGC, and I just looked at it, and I was like, I love aliens. I hope they really exist, and if they do, they gotta have some badass shit to get past light year speed. And so I bought a bag, and I saw it grow faster than the cores. And then I learned about LP slowly over a long period of time. Learned a lot about LP. I can just say that $19,000 when the X was 30, ink was like 23, EX had a bag of 10, something. I remember vividly. I just remember I just kept chasing pTGC because it was performing better during that time period, during the peaks and the troughs. And the peak hit, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Excuse my language. Saturday morning, kids are inside. But I was like, what is this doing? This makes no sense. This is amazing. I'm bragging. And so, oh my God, look at my phone. Oh my God, pTGC. And then every time I took a step back, and I was like, all right, maybe it's a fluke. Maybe it's just a great meme, or maybe their tokenomics I don't understand fully, but it's good. I took a step back and I was like, if there was, and I want to give respect to you, Zen and Prairie, on the meme factor, because like if there was actual alien existence and technology per se, if we ever got to see them, it'd be better than ours because they'd be here and we can get there. It would have to be that solid. My dad was an engineer, worked on the 91 space station, International Space Station, ISS, etc. And so when an engineer has their mind set on the endpoint, it's set on the endpoint. And if the endpoint gets achieved and launched through this token, the amount of time that it took to put that together, that's when me as a dev, I have respect for. The only thing I can actually do to pair off that is my largest LP pool, which is burdened out of my hands because I don't think humans should control bounties for future glory for ecosystems. So those are all burnt, and Mando can attest to that. But the largest is pTGC, and for good reason, because it's been the most faithful through every trough and most glorious through every peak. And the peak is so close. It's crazy. I can imagine. Excuse my little rant. This is my first trough as a coin founder or whatever. I care about the people that are in my community. And I feel amazing knowing that, yes, we are. Love you. I'll be inside in a second. I feel great knowing that the people of my community have the largest burnt LP that I can't touch of 100K plus with pTGC. And I'm glad you guys have these organized spaces, I think, like twice a week. I mean, I know Saturdays is when I know I can get on and hear you guys and talk to you guys and ladies. And guys, it's such a beautiful feeling to have confidence in a mathematical equation where you can just sit back on a Saturday during a red candle few days trending upwards, rolling into September. I mean, imagine if we were here like in May having this conversation. Oh my God, something magic's going to happen. What's Mr. Hart going to do? Whether he does anything or nothing, just 1 or 2 interest rate cuts, 2 compounded on 1 or a half. I'm saying no financial advisor, don't know what's going on in the future. My brother is a bank regulator in FDIC, was the bank regulator for the FDIC in New York City. Still up there for Worried Bank, South Korea, Global. And there's such a rhyme and reason to the fiat currency that we've all, mothers, fathers, your mom, your dad, grandpa, dealt with, and loan, banks, interest rate, credit risk, etc. And rarely is there a fair playing field where the equation's the equation. You can stake it for a time period. After that time period, you can still get benefits off that stake and just let it ride. You can lock it for more benefits. And when that time period ends, you can, correct me if I'm wrong, you can lock it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The more you lock it, then after the time period ends, the more you gain off of that. Be studious, be sharp, don't get cocky. Let a few days go by after the lock ends and let the stake ride. But I think I've talked a little bit too much because you already know that it's good shit. So a wise man would listen more than he speaks. And because it's Saturday at noon in Miami, my wisdom is it's good enough. God bless.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you coming in and being a part of PTGC. Zen, it brings up a good point, and I don't want it to pass. I think that in the future, that people are going to really want to bond their things with the Grace currency, which is unique, which is very unique. And I think that in terms of store of value, there's not a lot of things in the blockchain that you would want to pair your thing with outside of the layer one. But it's obvious on PulseChain that people choose to pair their things with pTGC for a reason, because they look at it as a proxy to the layer one, with potential to massively outperform the layer one. And, that reflexive nature between the pairs is something that's very attractive to people. Remember that when people do that, it's taking more tokens offline. And what's very interesting is that when you see devs that are willing to buy pTGC take the hit in providing LP of 5% because they want to be paired with what they consider to be a blue chip asset on chain, if they want to pull that LP, that's another 5%. So we see a very interesting thing that you would normally not see, which is a lot of devs on PulseChain treating pTGC like a layer one coin, even though there's a fee to actually pair with it, which is that's very powerful if you understand what that means. And I think that will only continue, to be honest.
Yeah, it's, a good thing usually costs something, and I think that's the price to pay for the price performance, and either by just being exposed to the product, or if you want your product exposed to this product so your product can reap the benefits of the success of this product, there is a cost for doing so. Great things have cost associated with them. Any good product costs a lot. Any good service usually costs a lot. Any good experience usually costs a lot. So why wouldn't financial freedom have a cost to it as well? It just kind of makes sense, and it also creates sustainability and longevity. You were saying earlier that, Berlin, stop doing that. Sorry, guys. Get off of that.
You got the kids there too? The kids running around?
Yeah, it's swinging on my pickleball net.
How old? If you don't let me ask you.
He's just over 2.
Yeah, nice. Got a 2.5-year-old. And 5.
Yeah, it's fun. But what I was saying was, the first thing is, you're talking about how you burnt the LP. I find burnt LPs very interesting, especially with different types of tokens, because for assets to become true store of values or true investments, they need to not be dependent on a single entity, a single person. We want these things to become bigger than our individual selves for our own legacy and for the own sustainability and success of the protocol. If you want that protocol to have legitimate success, you do not want it to be dependent on yourself and your own wallet, right? And by you burning that, you're actually putting that product out there for the ecosystem forever, making it so it's not dependent on you or your own individual emotions. It's actually bigger than you now. This was kind of the idea with pTGC, as it being a decentralized and automated just code on a blockchain with burnt liquidity. Is it has nothing really to do with me at this point. I'm obviously a massive educator on it. I believe in it. Part of designing the system and all. But it's now out of my hands, and it's bigger than just me. It's bigger than just Mando. It's bigger than just Banana. And we hope it becomes possibly bigger than just PulseChain, right? It's on PulseChain, but it can become so much bigger. And that being said, we spend a lot of time educating on what pTGC is. And Mando was saying, like, he doesn't assume that everyone understands it. And I think where we go back is we're educating people on it, and they understand what the machine is today. But I think very few understand what this machine could be in the future. And that's the part that a lot of people still haven't grasped, is what they have in front of them right now is not what could be in front of them in the future as far as what the machine will evolve into. This is very similar to what Bitcoin was the first 2 years and what it evolved into today. What it evolved into today wasn't a transactional currency, but a true store of value system that the largest companies, individuals, and governments are now using to hedge themselves against their own currency's inflation and against every other asset that really exists. It's proven to be one of the top performing investments in the entire world. And we have now come up with situations that actually amplify all the features that have made those things like Bitcoin the best performing assets in the world. We've amplified the features that matter and take away the features that actually made them perform less good, right? Obviously, Bitcoin has certain features because a transactional currency as well. That was its first intent of design. It's just evolved into a store of value because there's more value in store of value and it had a better product market fit. But what if a product was specifically designed to be a fully decentralized store of value system with the parts that matter actually amplified? We've yet to see this ever exist and have true success. This product could obviously not have the success we believe it will have if PulseChain isn't successful itself. But with PulseChain being successful, it can speed up the timeline of this asset's natural growth by 10 years over a week. And that's why we can get into the top 25 within weeks of PulseChain just running. And that's what I mean is I do think a lot of people somewhat understand what it is today, but I don't think a lot of people understand what it could be in the future.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I can tell you that when I went back in time to that run-up, and if you look at the chart, you'll see that run-up. That literally can happen again, and with threefold more momentum coming into PulseChain than there was at that time. So, yeah, the algorithm itself, it's, I think people do, like tax, right? The tax token. I haven't thought about tax. I actually forget the number every time I buy pTGC. Because because if I think about it, like if I'm chasing something stupid on pump tires, or chasing something random, just playing on the evening with a side wallet, then it more or less is you'll lose more than the tax. Period. Just getting in, let alone getting out if you get out correctly or whatever. So I think that's I don't know. From a dev standpoint, from an education standpoint, and the whole tax factor, I don't think there's going to be another token relative to that word that has any type of inkling or muster test they can go through to actually prove that their math is sound. So it's big props to you, man, because you're punctual on your spaces and literally so here today, at the trough, letting people know just fundamentals. So Coach Saban, when I've talked to him, it's just, he talks fundamentals. You talk fundamentals, you're fine. It's fundamentals. Whatever. Audit the fundamentals. It's whatever. It's perfect. It works. It wins championships. It defeats the human element, the above such element, if the math is correct. And the math is correct. And so you look at any graph, you see like a spike, you see it trickle down a little bit with the system, another spike. We all see that. We all hope for the next giga spike, whatever. But I feel this. I've witnessed 3, so with pTGC, so it's going to be guaranteed. And I like how you mentioned burning your LP literally does make it above yourself, because humans are humans, and humans are some amazing, interesting, hilarious people, so to speak. And I sleep very good at night knowing that half my supply and another 20, 30% of that LPs are burnt forever, so that I can go get into what I want to get into when I want to, and get here and feel comfortable in the engine that pTGC is creating. And so, like, when I say rocket science, it's only specifically because when we're all moving and it's all going in the right direction and everybody's happy, we've been there before, it's going to happen again, period. And to be able to pivot calculated at that time, which I don't have any experience with, that's where the math comes in handy, because you know you're good on that. pTGC first place, PETS second place, and I don't really pay attention to any other protocols in that much depth to rank anything else otherwise. But I appreciate what you guys have created. I appreciate the steadfastness that you are all on the calendar times point, and it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, you know, I think that we were talking in the Telegram VC. I think it was on Thursday or something, and we were running the numbers on the paired assets, and the mean of the paired assets from the previous local top was about a 45% to about a 47% retracement from that previous local top for PulseChain and Hex and PulseX and Most and all the major assets in the LP web. And at the time that we were looking at that, we were about a 56% retracement. So when you removed the mean of the cores that were attached to, it left us with about a 12% retracement from the peak in terms of where we're at, right? But the machine itself is continuing to add new users. I remember when we were in a space a long time ago at a $10 million market cap, whatever, and I said, I don't see how this thing doesn't go to a $100 million market cap pretty soon. Well, now we're at a $105 million market cap, and it seems to be a pretty, I mean, think about this, guys. Think about where we're at practically at this point. Take emotions out and just think about where the actual protocol's at. Now, it's at a $105 million market cap, just sitting there, and it feels like pTGC is just sitting here at a $105 million market cap. It wasn't like that a year ago. It wasn't like that 15 months ago. The system is mathematically doing what Zen said he programmed it to do. And people really better recognize the reality that, yeah, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme in the sense of what people think crypto is. It is a get-rich over time frames protocol. And if you've been holding the whole time and not screwing around with your bags, you've just been stacking much more. But think of, people need to take themselves out of their emotions, because let me tell you something, man. I see so many people doing the stupidest shit ever with their bags and selling bags and trading this and doing that, up and losing half. And I'm going to tell you right now, very few people that sold pTGC to go play with a carrot or chase another carrot ended up better than if they just did nothing, spent time with their family, went on a walk with their wife and kids, took them on a vacation, and just came back and just had peace. Yep. But now we're sitting at a $105 million market cap like it's just a normal day in the sun for the Grace currency. Well, what does that mean?
I can tell you what it means. I can tell you what it means. I can tell you, Mando.
Give me a 30
I'll give you a 10-second summary. My wife 2 days ago and yesterday and this morning, she's like, set your phone down, stop paying attention to crypto world, and just like talk to your son and daughter for a little bit and just chill. And I said, sweetheart, God, if you told me that before I went on vacation. Wow, right? And it's so now my strategy is like, right, when we hit this little trough or PulseChain does this little shakeout right before the send, set the phone fucking down. Excuse my language. But just set it down, chill, family, bond, relax. Hey, sweetheart. And nothing beneficial comes from that meantime when you're trying to work on the red when the green's guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, think about it. We're at where we're at with PulseChain, but now there's 16,000 going on 300 holders of pTGC. The system has bought out millions of dollars worth of positions in the system. There's massive distribution. The top 50 now are teetering on 1 billion coins. $105 million market cap now is kind of just where we're at on PulseChain, which is unheard of on a chain that's been nothing but a down escalator chain for freaking 2 years. On a completely devastated PvP, copycat, steal everybody, try to get this system is so strong. There's so much power to this system, the way it's been designed, that if you don't just stop and take a step back, literally, like go in your room and close your eyes and just do the physical step back and open your eyes and say, okay, let me look at this system again. Seriously. Because the truth is that there's very few things in crypto that are real, that are sustainable, that have sustainability and longevity, that have actual mechanics that generate millions of dollars of revenue. And the system, even with people taking shit tons of profits, is just sitting here at a very respectable place. And not too long, you're going to have 20,000 users on pTGC. There's going to be 20,000 holders, not 16,300. And there's going to be, and so what I'm saying is, if we're now here at $105 million market cap, prior to PulseChain making a move, well, what does that say about the strength of the ecosystem and where its future is headed? It's just that simple. It doesn't matter about the rhetoric you hear or an influencer showing TA about what he thinks the chart's going to do, which, it's amazing how many people come in. Oh, what is this guy saying this for? Why is someone selling? It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter.
You're right. It really doesn't matter. You're right. The chart's going to do what it does.
But my point is that just a few months ago, look on the chart. Just a few months ago, we were at a $50 million market cap.
I know. I was scared.
PulseChain starts to run, and we go up to a $230 million market cap.
I wasn't scared then.
Then PulseChain just dies back down again. But guess where we've landed now? Now we're literally landed now at a $105 million market cap. We are just at a $50 million. So what is the system telling you that's happening? Stop listening to people and look at the system. Look at the chart. Look at the numbers. Look at the holders. Because if you don't, you're going to get fudded out of your damn bags.
Yeah, it's the green candles are going to be green candles, which is going to be great.
It's gonna be that Zen. It's gonna be that the historical. I can't believe I sold my Hex video. That dude sold all of his Hex like 2 days before it started to pump.
Yeah, I think that's why, in particular, our communities put a lot of effort in just educating people on what this ecosystem is. So people don't do that because, in crypto, especially throughout the last 4 years, a lot of people have been programmed to take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit. So when you take profit on a few 2Xs, by the time your product is up 10X, you barely even have a bag left. And if you've actually found the golden goose, the needle in the haystack, that's the last thing you should do. Definitely diversify, definitely take profits at times, but you need to actually look at your portfolio and say, which projects do I have high conviction in, medium conviction in, low conviction in, no conviction in? Because most likely you're going to look at your portfolio and there will be projects you have no conviction in. And you just are holding that because someone convinced you to get it. You thought it was going to be a quick flip. Ended up you were the one left holding the bag. You're just sitting there waiting for it to pump up again as soon as you can get out. Truth be told, so is the rest of that community. So have your eyeballs on it. Wait for the time for you to get out where you could take profits. But pay attention to what products you actually have high conviction in, because those are the easiest ones to sell, because those are usually the ones you're actually in profits in. But that should be the reason those are the ones you don't take profits in, because those are the ones that actually have sustainability, longevity, a community, reason to exist, product market fit, all the features of why we are within pTGC. And a lot of people are going to try to convince you out of your bag because they don't want it to run without them. They're either not in it and don't plan on getting in it and they just want it to fail, or they're not in it and they want to buy cheaper, so they're trying to bring it back down to levels that they want to purchase it at. You don't have to give it to them. You can let them buy higher, because there's a ton of people in Bitcoin and Ethereum who didn't want to buy each of them at $1,000, but they're willing to buy them all at 100,000 or 5,000, just because as the system evolves, as it grows, people's mindsets change. As it hits new floors, like there's people who didn't want to buy pTGC at $1 million market cap, but I promise you, if it went down to a 10 million market cap, they're willing to pick it up at that level, because that's the new discount. You don't have to give them the discount.
So I just posted something in the Jumbotron I want to bring up, and it was a post by Confessions. And I'm telling you, I've been telling people this privately for a long time, but we've seen this on PulseChain, and you see it in waves. Anybody else can mute out if you're not muted out for a second. We've seen this in waves where, and I know that some of you have recognized this just intuitively, discerning wise, but all of a sudden it'll seem like the chain hits a wave of FUD, right? And it's coming from maybe 5-6 different channels. It'll just hit, right? Well, sometimes it'll be chain wide. Sometimes it'll be more focused on a protocol. And in this specific tweet, he says, I've made a fortune selling every pump on PulseChain when everyone screams hold. Then I secretly complain about the performance in spaces and in telegrams. So in other words, he sells the pump, and then as soon as he sells the pump, he starts fudding the crap out of PulseChain everywhere he can, because he wants to buy in again at a lower price just to ride it up, sell it again at a pump, and FUD it again. And there are a lot of people that are doing this, not just on the PulseChain side. So it's completely malicious. It's completely self-serving. The only reason why they're posting low energy, bad energy, FUD energy, it's not because they really hate PulseChain. It's because they actually just want you to sell the price down and get picked up in the algorithms and make people sell the price down so they could buy it cheaper again to swing trade the thing again, right? There's also things that have hit, our protocol in the very same way. We've watched people's wallets sell at highs, and then all of a sudden, within 24 hours, there's 5 different accounts that never did it before, and now they're fudding it, right? So just be aware that, you should not be paying attention to accounts, because the people in this space, they are Decepticons.
They want your coins.
They're Decepticons. They do not care about you or your family. They don't care about truth. They're not disseminating what they believe to be true. They're only trying to manipulate your mind as to the fact that PulseChain's no good, it's going to go down. And I've actually had people come in spaces and confronted them. And when I started to drill down on them, they always end up admitting that they just want to buy lower. And they're just trolling. They call it trolling, when in reality, it's just lying to people. That's what I would call it. They're lying. So just know what you guys have, and make sure that you're not being informed spiritually about your portfolio by lying, scamming, manipulating trolls on X, especially in your massive conviction plays. Drill down with the data and the KPIs and the TA. And it's always good to get in with maybe B Roots or something like that, and even pay for just 1 month, because he always gives you a very unbiased perspective on the TA. Those are the way you make your decisions. And that's the way that you don't sell your bags that are worth a lot of money way too early. So just take that in mind. And then the last thing, did you see Alex from Hedron's last post on the entropy of a blockchain? Crypto Stylist, did you see that post? I know that you like Alex, and he's been with us from the beginning. Did any of you guys read that post on the entropy of a blockchain?
I didn't read it, but I heard them talking about it in the stream for the happy hour, Cabana and those guys, but I didn't read it.
Yeah, it was very well. I mean, I would prefer to just read it, because it's let me read it, because we don't have anything better to do, and it's not that long.
Educational. Read it.
Yeah, it's very well. Alex is one of the best.
Yeah.
Not only is he one of the best programmers, he's one of the best integrity people on our chain. He's been with us from the beginning, and he's a very smart guy. Now, some of it might sound a little bearish, but it's not about bearish. It's about just reality. But then there's a twist, because as I'm reading it, because I've studied some of this stuff and I know what entropy is. By the way, guys, entropy is heat death. It's a scientific term, whatever you want. It just basically talks about that anything that comes into existence immediately begins a process of entropy, which means that of heat loss or energy loss. So he's talking
decay. Yes.
Correct. Correct. It goes from order to disorder because of heat death. So he says, my theory on entropy, energy loss over time, essentially, as it relates to all blockchains, not just PulseChain, but mainly PulseChain. Every blockchain is effectively a bubble, or analogous to a universe, with bridges / on-ramps acting as wormholes, so to speak. When the EHEX Pulse transition happened, we went from more or less one mind, one goal, to thousands, many of which compete against each other for market energy. This creates a liquidity web. Kudos to Zen for creating that term, which he picked up. So we got Alex talking about liquidity webs. This creates the liquidity web, something beautiful and disastrous at the same time. But along with that, with every trade, action, bet against, bet for, etc., the entropy of this market energy increases. So he's saying the entropy or the heat death of the market speeds up. If you assume zero bridge activity, entropy simply increases, spreading market energy over an ever-widening web. The market energy is still there. It's just dispersed so wide that it feels lost. Adding a new coin to this mix just makes entropy grow faster as more trades and bets are placed, dispersing the energy further. Some may draw analogies to the eventual heat death of the universe. I believe pretty firmly that this doesn't happen on a blockchain until nobody truly cares about it anymore. We're pretty far off from that. Then the question is, how do you address this? Well, there's a few rules, I think, that are applicable. One, anything that takes in tokens and locks them freezes market entropy. So now why we're bringing it up. How do you address this? Now here's his potential solutions. Anything that takes in tokens and locks them freezes market entropy. If it captures more market energy than it produces, energy of that thing goes up to match the energy it absorbed, which in turn helps the things it captured gain energy as well. As by locking their entropy, it's easier for external energy to influence the lesser energy of their entire ecosystem. Two, the goal of any long-term successful coin needs to do things. First, the goal of any long-term successful coin needs to do two things. First, secure more energy than it produces. Second, distribute its energy in the most entropic way possible. You cannot do this without risk. There must always be energy cost, even if only symbolic. Three, DEXs are basically big entropy machines, an energy of sorts creating disorder from order constantly. Four, releasing stored energy slowly keeps long-term entropy in check. This is very interesting. So this raises the question, how do we create value by taking in more energy than you produce to the system state? Why would you give up X to get less Y in return? This is risk we all dance around every day in multiple ways. There is an answer to this. Traditional markets figured it out. Some crypto markets figured it out too, but implemented it in such a fluid way that it takes away from the actual net benefit, which is more obscure. What do you think? And then he had a link to his previous tweet. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because I know exactly what he's talking about. And if you read that 3 or 4 times and you just look up the terms maybe you don't understand he's using, the light bulb does go off. And I really liked the part where he says that the market energy is still there. It's just dispersed so wide that it feels lost. That is where we are on PulseChain right now. But when he goes to what the potential solutions are for system entropy and heat death, energy death, he basically comes up with a list of things. And I immediately recognize those things as being indicative of what the Grays ecosystem actually already has built into it and why it's doing so much better than everything else. So I want to go ahead and post this to the Jumbotron as well, because I want you guys to go back and read that and realize that the solutions, the things that he brings to the table that minimize entropy in a system are built into the Grays ecosystem. And that's why, and in even the implementation of it, and that's why this system outperforms everything else on this chain, even in the midst of really bad unfavorable environments. It's a really, really good post from Alex. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that, Zen, if you heard that.
Yeah, I heard that. You're probably going to have to listen to a kid crying.
We don't care about that, man.
Hear that. Yeah, it sounded like he was trying to be honest with you. I know.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up on us, brother.
This is a dead spot on the freeway, so you know what I'm on. So
Okay.
it might take me a little bit to get through this. I can stop for now and wait. You can keep going, and I can chime back in and like.
Yeah, you can chime back. You can chime back in. Crypto Stylist, what did you think? What did you take from that? Just reading that. What did you get from that?
Gosh, okay. I think that he's. I mean, I need to read it probably a couple more times. Totally get it, but I think, what, especially the point he was making about locking, right? And that locking freezes entropy. Is that what he says? And like clearly that applies to pTGC, right? Because we have locking and staking and things that take the coins like out of the system, and or people just you forget about them and you put them away when you can't touch them, right?
100%.
And I think that there's a lot of the entropy. It's really interesting right now on PulseChain, because I do feel like there's a lot of new things that keep coming up that just keep stealing from the old things. It keeps cannibalizing itself. That's the kind of stage we're in right now, and maybe a little bit that's what he's talking about. And I think that
So it's 100% what he's talking about. You're correct.
yeah. And I think that, some of we're going to have to wait a little bit for survival of the fittest and let the market decide, which it will, especially during the bull run. I think, projects like pTGC just have already proven themselves, and they will clearly survive and shine during this time. And I think, entropy will really work. It will not affect as much a project like ours as it will others, that don't have the fundamentals that we do.
Facts, yes, correct. And so just to chime in on that with you, you're 100% correct, because when you think from a nuclear level, the law of decay, nuclear, atomic, proton, neutron, electrons, etc. Every holder is their own atom. Every buyer is their own atom. They can take energy away and sell and go chase something and then lose and just be out there. Or they can stake lock, and then that energy is kind of like staying somewhat, but more or less the buy and burn, the LPs that are burned, that is basically locking within a chamber an oscillating system of bots that are shifting back and forth. And then when the green candles come, the energy to the entire ecosystem comes, it tends to lock that up, and it tends to pull from that and take the human element out of it. And any good mathematical system oscillates zeros and ones versus the human element, which in, out, feel, done, cool, buy, etc. So more or less, the way the algorithm was created, it's a beautiful thing because we've seen that in action on the charts. I've witnessed that, tasted it, felt it, amazing. Woo! And happening again happens every time we go through this little tranche. And I'll be honest with you, my craving for buy and burn, and craving for PulseX buy and burn, pTGC buy and burn, and that entire joy, jubilee that I had with that, for me and for the Your Mom coin, half the supply is burned, and then all the LPs are burned with the cores, and pTGC is the best out of all. I know, I'm sorry to shill on it, but it's actually, it's entropy. I had to remove it from the human element, which is never so good, but that is removing atrophy from a coin, correct? Paired appropriately.
Did you have something else, Stylus?
No, I think that, we may have covered this, but also just the deflationary aspect, I think also is really important, and also slowing down or, keeping the entropy from, killing the death of it that happens from entropy. So
Yeah,
because
ultimately, ultimately, right? It's how do you keep energy in a system, in a closed system? How do you have energy remain? How do you have it continue to come into a system and overcome energy that's coming out of a system? And if you don't have mechanisms that can counteract or balance out entropy within a system, then that system's going to die. And that really is the natural outworking of most things in physics. So you have to have, it's like any company. If Amazon started and it never grew more than 100 customers or 1,000 customers or 10,000 customers, well, what happens? You start to go back into heat death. You have energy loss, and now you go bankrupt, right? Now, within this system has the staking. This system has the locking. This system, and that was the first thing that Alex said needs to happen to mitigate entropy. It also has new users coming online all the time, bringing in new energy. It also has revenue generation that's constantly happening within the system, that's bringing new energy and the best form of new energy, because that energy is coming from a place that is never going to re-extract that energy once it actually is put into the system. So that's a massive part. And then you have the automatic buy and burn, you have the automatic LP. There's everything that you could do mathematically in a system, in a decentralized way, to counteract the entropy of an ecosystem that Alex is talking about, is built into the pTGC ecosystem. And when I read this, and because I've studied on entropy and just from the teleological argument for a long time, it just instantly just hit me and said, wow, this is why pTGC does so well, because it's constantly adding new users. It's constantly adding new energy. There's constantly more people buying and staking and locking. There's new energy and new revenue constantly coming into the system that doesn't leave the system in the same way that all these other systems have it. Because in all these other systems, it's just they could just buy and they could just sell. There's nothing more to it than that, right? So yes, he was talking about the broader scope of the chain, and you can just see that that's what's happening on PulseChain. But then when you drill down and say, okay, what's the solutions? To me, when I read that and I pieced all that together, the pTGC ecosystem has all those solutions built into one thing. So then when you look at the price, and you look at the performance, and you say, okay, in that closed ecosystem of PulseChain, within that, I should see a better performance from a system like a pTGC that has all those mitigations against entropy. And by golly, look what we see. We see that that's actually, in fact, what's going on. It proves Alex's thesis. I just don't think that he's not paying attention to pTGC, but it proves that what he was saying is true. Have to have the ability to defeat entropy in a closed system, and I think that pTGC is designed to do that. So I just wanted to bring that to the table because it's something new to talk about, and it's actually math. And that's kind of what we've been all about from the beginning, is going over real math and looking at why the system works. And I think it's because there's tons of different mitigation processes and mechanisms built in that counteracts the entropy of the system.
Well, Zen, Has it been a day?
Yeah, I really want to chime in on that actually, but my daughter is just screaming in the background right now.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I think Alex.
Yeah, you're fine.
Alex, I think a lot of that is talking about that you have to utilize the decaying process of other things in the ecosystem to enhance individual things, right? So we know that there's a decaying process to pretty much every token that exists. For an example, every pump.tires token that exists, if it doesn't have anything in it that can constantly like add value to it, you either need new users coming in to keep fueling it, or it's going to dissolve, right? You need new users, or you need some form of income coming in. But what's unique about PulseChain in general and PulseX in general is as these systems naturally decay or grow and then decay away, just like the human life, right? You grow just like a token, and then you start decaying away until you die. This is pretty much the lifespan of a standard token. And the unique thing about pTGC or PulseX and PulseChain is the lifespan of these assets that just launch and launch and launch, and this revolving cycle of life is actually increasing the lifespan and increasing the power of PulseX and PulseChain. And if the system that you're under have the ability to generate off of the decaying of everything around it, that specific product is going to outpace everything around it. And pTGC and UFO actually have the same mechanism built into it as well. As the entire market evolves, rises, decays, as markets move, we're connected heavily with PulseChain, PulseX. As they move up and down, we're able to actually generate revenue, generate power off of all this movement. And it actually makes it to where our system can have a strong foundation, strong growth against everything else. And 100%, I think that shows people why we have been superior, or why we've actually had growth on this chain, because of the sustainability features within our protocol. And I think this is a good indicator of why PulseChain and PulseX will have sustainability as well. And I think that's more what Alex was talking about. I don't know where Alex has been. Maybe you can tell me. To me, it sounds like he has possibly been working with Richard on creating the longevity plan for PulseChain by that post. And he's actually hinting about how much thought has gone into the PulseX mechanics, the pump.tires mechanics, knowing that there's this constant decaying situation going on. And by these things launching, it's actually onboarding and bringing new energy in. And as long as PulseX and PulseChain can take a portion of that energy that decays in most tokens and using it for the growth of the overall blockchain, that's what's going to create the sustainable growth of PulseChain and PulseX. Naturally, what that does for pTGC and UFO, because we've capitalized on this same idea, kind of just shown in a different visual. I kind of more use the idea of value generation and sustainability. You need that constant value generation happening that goes to the buying burden, creating the higher floor, making it so the price chart goes up. They're using this more analogy of the decaying process of everything around it, and then gaining power off of those decaying things and using it to increase the overall, which is PulseChain. Same exact idea. What to me, it just shows that the brightest minds in this ecosystem are thinking about the same things that we're thinking about within the pTGC ecosystem, and also using the same exact ideas to make the blockchain we're built on successful as well.
Yeah, man. Prairie, what did you think about that before we take off? Did you get anything out of that?
I bookmarked it so I can read it later. It sounds exciting.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounds good. It was deep, dude. It was like, that's a thinker. I had to be totally in the zone to get everything in that post. Man, he's a galaxy brain. Alex is. Wow. I didn't realize.
Mando, do you know what Alex has been working on the last 2 years?
No, Alex has been gone. Alex has been doing his own thing. He's definitely been in the background, in some of the discords and some of the back channels. But that would be just private things happening on the backside. I don't know if we can say that he's been working with A, B, or C, but there's a lot of his.
But
it seems like he's been touching a lot of things. Yeah.
Are you saying it hasn't been confirmed or denied though?
No, it has not been confirmed or denied. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think that post is talking a lot about the sustainability features within PulseChain, and if you look at everything else that exists, tokens, blockchains, etc., even real life organisms, real life anything, the decaying process of those systems, and what PulseChain and PulseX, Richard's products in general, luckily pTGC and UFO fall under this category too, have done to mitigate themselves against this natural decaying process, and not only hedge ourselves against it, but actually utilize the decaying of other assets to increase the value of our individual assets. It's super complex, a super intriguing idea. I've actually haven't seen it worded in that way, and I know he's not wording it specifically talking about pTGC and UFO, but like you said, just listening to all that, he's literally describing the features that have made pTGC and UFO sustainable and successful on chain.
Yeah, and it's even more amplified than the actual PulseChain ecosystem itself. So the PulseChain ecosystem itself has some of these things that are built in, but the Grays actually has a superior or amplified mechanic on top of it. So it's kind of a double whammy. And that's why we see the
endpoint idea, right? It's the endpoint idea. The endpoint, a lot of times, is more valuable than the connected, the thing connecting it. I forget what it's called.
Well, Richard called it the dump pipe.
Dump pipe, yeah, the dump pipe. The endpoint has more value than the dump pipe.
I don't know. I just thought that was something that the community should look at and understand a little bit.
Yeah, that's something like I haven't read before, so I just listened to you, and as you were reading that, I was like, wow, this is really intriguing. It sounds like he's describing what is built within pTGC and UFO. I'm actually probably going to really open it up and really dig into each paragraph of that and dissect it, because I think that tweet has a lot more going on than meets the eye. I think that tweet was obviously specifically put out at this time period, and I honestly, that tweet made me feel like he is working with some people that in private is what it felt like to me. That was just the vibe I got from it. I obviously know that that's not confirmed or anything like that, but it felt very, very interesting to me.
It is, and I will tell you that my personal opinion is that Alex has been working with the team, whether just in a consulting or just putting his thoughts out there in back channels this entire time, because he does have the respect of Richard from building Hedron and really, really high tier protocols on PulseChain that were obviously connected to Hex.
100%. If you're creating a team of developers, builders to help with masterminding, the design and structure of your blockchain and associated tokens, I don't see a reason why Alex wouldn't be included in that. That's kind of my thought process right now, even though there's nothing saying that. Even if it's not like a full-blown team member, like a paid dev, but just as a consultant or a friend that you mastermind with, it's a possibility in my opinion, especially from you reading that tweet. It seems like there's a thought process and some brainstorming that has gone on way deeper than meets the eye, and even way deeper than written in that, multi-paragraph tweet.
Well, good. Then you can, we'll dive into that a little bit more. Maybe we'll bring that back on the next space and just have a little bit of a deeper conversation on it. I think that'd be cool.
Cool, guys. Yeah, I'm going to shut it down. We've been going for 3 hours now. Banana's been streaming for 5 hours straight now. He's gotten his hours in today.
Banana's the man. Love banana.
Banana man.
Banana did a
Thank you,
PulseChain
Banana.
onboarding video this morning, and then the Gray's space this morning also. So he's ready to go.
Have a good day, guy.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah. Thanks. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Salad. Thanks for hanging out. I know you've been streaming all day too, so good job to you as well.
Yay. It's worth it. We're sprinting to the end, guys. We're in the final leg of the marathon, the PulseChain marathon. All right, guys, if you're new or have newbies or just want to help the algorithm, jump in my stream tomorrow. We'll be walking through the Gray's currencies step by step. All right, guys, have a great Saturday. I, too, am going to play some pickleball. Hopefully Zen is, too. Hope he didn't miss his pickleball today. See you guys. Everybody go outside, touch some grass, play pickleball.